stress off Canadians when it comes to paying for health care, which includes improved mental health support. Liberal leader Mark Carney's platform shows it would add $35.2 billion in new spending over the next year and a total of $129 billion over the next 4 years. Into hospital following an assault with a machete earlier this week. Police found 2 victims in critical condition on Alverstone Street around 3:30 Friday morning. Both have been upgraded to stable despite their serious injuries. Officers believe the suspects fled on foot and are asking any
We all want to get there safely.
The Start, weekday mornings 6 to 10.
Lowry moving in, shoot.
Jets fans, it's your chance to win big all night long with our playoff 50-50 raffle.
Get your tickets now for a shot at multiple cash prizes during the game, ranging from $1,000 to $25,000.
Plus, one lucky winner will take home 50% of the total sales at the end of the series.
Don't miss out.
Text JETS to 20450 for your chance to win.
That's JETS to 20450.
Hey, this is Josh Morrissey. Paul Edmonds and Mitchell Clinton are bringing it. Winnipeg Jets hockey style on 680 CJOB.
So for the second time since relocation, these two teams meet in the playoffs, and it didn't go well for Winnipeg in the first meeting, and that was in 2018-2019. They dropped the first two games at home, won the next two in St. Louis, dumped game number 5 here at home. and then ended up dumping game number 6 in St. Louis. And the last 3 games were 1-goal games in that series. And I do remember with about 4 seconds left in game number 6, Patrick Laine hit the post and would have tied the score. St. Louis, they had a Cinderella season, went on to win the Stanley Cup that year. By the way, they had a coaching change this year like they did that year in 2019. Jordan Binnington got hot again like he did this year back in 2019. And with the coaching change, the Blues certainly thrived under their new head coach in Jim Montgomery. And since the Four Nations break, we're 21, 5-4, 46 points. They were the hottest team in the National Hockey League since coming out of that February break.
Yeah, they absolutely were. And, of course, came into Winnipeg late in the season, kind of partway through April, and that 12-game win streak, one better than the one that Winnipeg put up with the 11-gamer a little bit earlier in the season, and it was Winnipeg that put an end to that streak. But really, since then, St. Louis lost 3 in a row and before finally winning that season finale. Now, part of it maybe is just kind of the exhale after a long streak like that. And, of course, kind of like we said in the intro, the Stanley Cup playoffs are a little bit different. Winnipeg had to battle right through game 80 before they really knew that they had the Central Division locked up. And, you know, there's certainly some value in that. St. Louis had to play their tails off to get, you know, into the postseason. And like I said, maybe took a little bit of an exhale there. But nonetheless, you know, everything, the entire slate wipes clean as we get ready to start game 1 between these two teams. A real intriguing series, of course, given the history. There's, you know, about a dozen players, if not just under that played in that 2019 series. Obviously, a lot more experiences that they've all gone through over those 6 years since. But it is intriguing to see these two teams battling once again.
Anytime you have trepidation about something in an environment that you're going into, you'll always look to your leaders to guide you. Look to them to say, get on my back. And I thought Adam Lowry did that precisely the other day. Of course, there's going to be lots of questions. There has been about the Winnipeg Jets going into this playoff series and what's happened against Vegas 2 years ago and last year against Colorado. There's going to be more questions come up, and you know this, if Winnipeg wins this game tonight, going into game 2, because for the last 2 years, they've won game number 1. It's been game number 2 that's been the bugaboo. But I thought Adam Lowry was very succinct and right on point when he said, we are really looking forward to the challenge and the pressure that comes with this time of year. It is the best time of year, end quote, Mitchell.
Yeah, you absolutely have to embrace it. And, you know, I think we'll be saying that a lot, especially, I think, in the first 10 minutes of this first period, because that pressure's not going anywhere. Regardless of, you know, if St. Louis gets the first goal or if Winnipeg gets the first goal, there's still that pressure to perform. But the thing that I really like from Winnipeg is, yes, they played a number of big games this year and have been able to come out on top in those. But they haven't strayed. They haven't let the adrenaline or the pressure of the moment get to them. They've stayed in the structure that gave them the success. They didn't start running around looking for hits. They didn't start running around looking for offense. They didn't stretch the ice open to try to find offense where there wasn't offense. They made the smart play when the smart play needed to be made, and that just speaks to experience, I think. And you talk about Adam Lowry, 49 games of playoff experience, and, you know, obviously that's going to be something that Winnipeg leans on as they start this series.
Where do you think that this game and ultimately this series is going to be won? I'll start, and it's a quote from Mark Scheifele, because Winnipeg has been so good at this all year. We haven't tried to overcomplicate the game. We're a tough team when we play in the O-zone. Hold on to pucks and make other teams defend. You can talk about defending inside your own zone. You have to be good there, no question about it. You have to generate speed through the neutral ice. But Winnipeg has done such a real good job of doing all of that by playing into the offensive zone, the attacking zone this year. I think for Winnipeg, that's going to be the key for them in this game and in this series. How much time are they spending in the blue zone? Because if they're there a lot, they're not in theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. Best way to defend is to play a great offensive game. But on top of that, and this has been part of what's made Winnipeg so good, is they've had that F3 support. They've had that forward support so that their defensemen can be as active along the walls and holding the line as possible. St. Louis has some players that in transition can be dangerous. So for Winnipeg, yes, it's making sure that they're good in the offensive end. Yes, good in their defensive end. But I think it's those areas, the tops of the circles to the blue line in both zones. If Winnipeg's good there and doesn't give up a whole lot, then they're going to put themselves in a good spot. And, of course, middle ice has something to do with that as well.
This place is crazy right now.
I love this.
Jazz right up on the decibel meter. They're at 112. That's the highest I've seen. And the Jets are now taking to the ice, as are the St. Louis Blues. It is a whiteout in April in downtown Winnipeg. Okay, power play. Again, let's talk about an area that hasn't been very good. But all you need is maybe one goal a night, a timely goal in this series here and there. And the power play, I think, could redeem itself.
Yeah, 2 for 10 over the last 5 games. And like you said, you just need one. You just need one at the right moment. I mean, this year's this year, last year's last year. But you look at game 1 against Colorado, and Winnipeg's a big goal from Kyle Connor on the power play was what really kind of opened that game up and gave Winnipeg a little bit of a cushion to work with that they ended up needing all of. So, yes, absolutely the power play will need to be an asset for the Winnipeg Jets. Coaches will always say they'll want their penalty kill rolling versus their power play if they had to choose between the two, but having both is nice. Obviously, a little bit of a change on the Jets' power play that I think they're still adjusting to an extent without Nikolai Ehlers and Gabriel Velarde involved. But they took some reps yesterday in practice. I'm sure they've done a whole lot of video. It's just a matter of executing at this point.
I don't know how far this series is going to go. Nobody's asked me for a prediction in game numbers, so I won't provide one. But I will say this. The longer it goes, I do believe the Winnipeg Jets' depth will shine through and help them win this series.
That was a big part of how they were able to beat St. Louis earlier in this season and take 3 of 4 from them in the season series. But like we said, the season series doesn't really mean a whole lot. It's nearly time to drop the puck here. You can hear the MVP chants. They just announced Connor Hellebuyck as the starting goaltender for the Winnipeg Jets. This is my favorite time of year. The crowd's activated. This is what Winnipeg's been waiting to get back to since that series against Colorado ended in this building.
A couple things to tick off. Speed for Winnipeg. Forecheck we talked about. Really stifling that top line led by Robert Thomas. If you can do that, I think you take away a lot of the offense, and then you can concentrate on Jordan Kyrou and certainly the matchups. And as they've always said, as Adam Lowry did as well, if each line wins their matchup, then we'll be in a good spot. So you win your matchup against whoever it is, because it might not be the matchup. Certainly Jim Montgomery was talking about that you're going to want or get on the road, and there will be 2 games on the road coming up in this series as well. Well, we're done talking for the moment. Downstairs to Soul Bear for the 2 anthems tonight.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. Don't l'épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
Our referees for tonight's game are Francis Chiron and Graham Skilleter. On the lines, John McIsaac and Ryan Daisy. Let's have a look at the starting lineups. They're brought to you by Windeck. Do it once, do it right. Visit windeck.ca to do that. As always, here's Mitchell.
Thank you, Paul. Jordan Binnington for the St. Louis Blues, 28, 22, and 5 in the regular season with a .900 save percentage. On the blue line, it's Philip Broberg and Justin Falcon up front. Alexei Toropchenko, Radek Faksa, and Nathan Walker. For the Winnipeg Jets, 47, 12, and 3 this season was Connor Hellebuyck with a .925 save percentage. He gets the call in goal. Logan Stanley and Luke Shen on the blue line, and up front, Nino Niederreiter, Vladislav Nemestikov, and Cole Perfetti.
Opening faceoff is brought to you by Wallace & Wallace. For all your residential or commercial perimeter security needs, contact the experts today at wallacefences.com. Teams will come to center ice to get it started. Jets are in dark blue, Hellebuyck down to our right. Blues are in white, Binnington down to our left. Jets are flying from a broadcast right to left. And we are just about ready to go. Puck is dropped, and it's showtime from downtown Winnipeg. The whiteout has enveloped the city. Game 1 is underway in the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Glad to have you along on Power 97 and 680 CJOB. How do you folks tuning in on satellite radio and on the NHL app across North America and worldwide? Set down inside that Winnipeg end to the near side. It's pushed along the boards here. Toropchenko trying to get it out along the boards. He's flattened. And Falk trying to hold the line to the near side. Niederreiter is there to try to dig it off the wall. 3 Blues are there. 3 Jets now. 4 Jets are there. Still inside the Winnipeg end, just along the blue line and just inside. Came back to Falk. Right side point is shot off a stick. And it flies up and into the meshing and out of play it goes. 19:18 remaining in this opening period. Winnipeg Jets hockey brought to you in part by Winnipeg Clinic, Wallace & Wallace Fences, and the Dairy Farmers of Manitoba.
Kind of a smart maneuver there by Cole Perfetti, who nearly almost kind of engaged in that puck battle as a little bit of support for the Winnipeg Jets there. But as Jordan Kyrou came off the bench for the St. Louis Blues and got into the offensive zone, you saw Cole Perfetti peel out a little bit just to protect that middle ice.
Winnipeg wins the draw up along the boards here. They will try to expel it outside their own zone and stop there by Thomas. Thomas high slot, backhands it into where the corner. Buchnevich goes after it, rolls around to the near side. Nice stick lift there by Neighbors. He got felled by Morrissey. Play continues. Puck goes to the far side. Scheifele tried to avoid a check there from Buchnevich. They collided. Goes into where the corner. Some heavy hitting going on. Thomas back out in front. Neighbors shoots, and it's off a stick and just wide. St. Louis buzzing around. Parayko tried to pitch in to hold the line, gave up the puck. Scheifele will shovel it in toward the middle, onto the far side now for Iafallo. He'll backhand it down inside that St. Louis end, and for the first time it's in the Blues territory. Not for very long though, out towards center ice. Swept in there, and set back inside of that Winnipeg Jets end. Snuggerud will do that. Winnipeg will dump it back in, but they were on their side of center ice, and we'll get an icing call against the Jets. 18:24 remaining in this first period. No score.
Looks like Scott O'Neill looking for the Thomas line up against the Mark Scheifele line, and obviously this first shift, you see the Thomas line kind of go to work physically against the Scheifele line, no doubt trying to get Winnipeg's top line kind of off their game, and a bit of a scary moment when Buchnevich went after Mark Scheifele, nearly a knee-on-knee collision there.
Both kind of went down and both got back up, so I think both fan bases and the teams on the benches. We're glad to see that. Winnipeg wins the draw. Swiftly out towards center ice in Appleton. He'll backhand it down inside that St. Louis end. Binnington will play it around on the far side. Tapped up into the middle and snapped back inside that Winnipeg end. Kyrou passed it off. Retrieving the puck back inside his own zone. Lowry to the near side for Sandberg. His pass back into the middle. Now shoveled out towards center ice. Nicely there by Pionk for Lowry. He almost barreled Leddy right over. Got the puck down deep. It came back for the line. Handled there by Morrissey. Rims it around back and behind the net. Stopped by St. Louis. Leddy hurled back in behind his own goal. He'll outlet it to the far side, and now St. Louis is out towards center ice. Snapped in by Zach Bolduc off his stick and down inside the Winnipeg end. Hellebuyck just about gave it away. Winnipeg managed to corral the puck, and it's backhanded down by Morgan Barron safely. Not enough for icing. Winnipeg will make some changes in the back end. Parayko back in behind his own net, being watched by Jared Anderson-Dolan. Fans are trying to help out. We played almost 3 minutes of this opening period. No score, no scoring chances really for either team. Parayko still sheltered back in behind his own net. Now he moves it to the far side for Faxa. Break wide to the near side for Kyrou. He'll sweep it down inside that Winnipeg end. Finishes his check on him is Stanley. Rolled around to the far side. Darting away from some traffic. Nice pass there. Anderson-Dolan on the far side for Nemesnikov. Squirrels down inside that St. Louis end. Broberg in on him. After it as well to help out is Perfetti, trying to dig it out of some skates. Braden Shen is there as well. Saber rattling going on back in behind that St. Louis net. And then Perfetti tripped up, no call. Snatching the puck, though, is Niederreiter. Rolls out of the corner. Niederreiter shooting! And he just put it wide. Came back toward the line. Held by Luke Shen. Tapped around gently into where the corner after goes Perfetti for Nemesnikov. Second line here for Winnipeg, buzzing around and churning. Back toward the line. Sandberg on the far side. Perfetti. A pass was there. It was taken off his stick. He fights for it. Found it in some skates. Over to the far side for Nemesnikov. Rattled around back in behind that St. Louis net. Falk after the puck. Now for Kyrou. Gave it away. Scheifele off the bench. Shoots off a skate. Grabbed on the far side again and poked into where the corner. And we're going to get a stoppage of play, as it was gloved ahead by the Winnipeg Jets to the advantage of the Jets, and the face-off will come outside of that St. Louis blue line. 16:02 remaining in this opening period. No score.
That's what you like to see from the Winnipeg Jets, getting involved in that offensive zone. And Cole Perfetti takes a big hit from two St. Louis Blues to make the play and get the puck off the wall, and that allows Winnipeg to kind of churn a little bit, leading to the Niederreiter chance. And how about Perfetti's coming around the net, and he gets his stick kind of lodged in the netting. But it almost works out for Winnipeg, because if Scheifele's shot as he came off the bench gets through that last layer, Cole Perfetti's by himself in front of Binnington.
Sandberg will snap it in from center. Hard rim around, stopped partially by Binnington, but it trickled into where the corner. Faxa's there, rolled it around to the near side, up along the boards, out toward the line, kept alive there by Sandberg. His shot in and out of the glove of Binnington, swept into where the corner. The fight will start there. St. Louis wins that again and out towards center ice. Neil Pionk rotates to the near side, came away with the puck. Now for Alex Iafallo. Came off the boards into where the middle of the ice. He'll send it back inside his own zone for Pionk. Changing on the fly is happening for St. Louis. Shot in by Pionk, and he'll peel off exit stage right for a line change. Dumped around the far side, pulled off the wall there by Buchnevich. Tried a long lead pass for Neighbors. Neighbors will get to the puck to the near side and backhanded inside that Winnipeg end. Robert Thomas goes after it, tried to fish it away, taking off his stick, and slithering through his own slot is Kyle Connor. Makes a couple of moves, curled back into where the corner, and dropped the puck back in behind his own net for Morrissey. He direct to the near side for Scheifele. Ticked off a skate, right there to grab that and wheel it out towards center ice is Connor. He didn't like the read. Scheifele broke his stick. He discards that. Heads off on a line change. Now tapped ahead for Appleton. He'll dump it in. Lowry charges in and hits Ryan Suter. Fans like that check. Bounced into where the corner. Appleton back to the line. Pionk moving and shooting. It hit a body out in front, and a redirect again on the putback by Tanev. That hit a body. Tanev to the puck in the corner. Back out in front on a bad angle try. It went off the side of the net, up and into the meshing, and on a play it goes. 14:32 remaining in the opening period. No score, and Adam Lowry has thrown a couple of big body checks already. He blew up Leddy at the blue line, and then Ryan Suter just moments ago.
We talked about Lowry's playoff experience in here. It's not like he's going to be out there looking for checks, but when you get an opportunity on the forecheck, especially to go up against the other team's defense, you have to complete that check and finish it, and Adam Lowry does exactly that. The crowd loves it, and I think this shot from Pionk actually hits Lowry kind of right in the chest. Otherwise, I don't know if Jordan Binnington was going to be able to see that thing.
Face off to the left of Binnington. Barron will take the draw against Schenn. For Broberg in toward the corner. He alley-oops it out towards center ice. Bouncing puck settled down by Joseph. On the far side for Sundqvist. Kicked it from his skate to his stick. Curls up in the corner, put it back toward the line. Shot came in. Stopped by Hellebuyck. That came off the stick of Zach Bolduc coming in late. Winnipeg will expel it back out towards center ice. Broberg wheels back inside his own zone. Far side for Oxer Sundqvist. Moved up ahead for Joseph. And he will just softly send it down inside that Winnipeg end. After it goes, Gustafsson rolled it around to the near side for his defenseman, and Sandberg didn't like the read. Indirected along the back wall for his deep partner in Pionk. Now for Sandberg. He escaped the check, got towards center ice, and twisted down inside that Blues end. Rolled to the far side, picked up by Perfetti in the slot, shoots, and he put it off his stick and wide. Grabbed off the back wall, fighting for the puck is Niederreiter. He had some space, turns and fires out of the corner. That just swept wide. Back to the line. Schenn shoots, deflected in front, and stopped by Binnington. And the rebound dumped all the way down. Foot race to the puck. Luke Schenn will win that. Roll it around to the near side for Stanley. Stanley moved it up along the boards, but that hit a stick. And did so of Snuggerud. Stanley retrieved the puck once again for Luke Schenn. Up along the board to the far side for Fetty. Tried to put it in toward the middle and hit. Nemestikov coming through the lane. Taken out of harm's way by Parayko and sent back off the boards out towards center ice. Winnipeg trying to pass back inside their own zone and miss Morrissey. And he'll have to go back to retrieve that. Both teams will make a change.
I think if you're Winnipeg, especially the players, you're happy now you've had a shift or two. You've been able to get out on the ice, feel the puck, get hit, throw a hit. You kind of get yourself into the game, especially in this atmosphere.
Scheifele after the puck to the near side, takes a bump there from Robert Thomas. In to help out is Iafolo, trying to dig it off the wall in the St. Louis end. Buchnevich is there as well, steered it out towards center ice for Neighbors. Neighbors, there's 3 St. Louis Blues making their playoff debut in the NHL, and Neighbors would be one of them. Bolduc is another, and Snuggerud is the third at center ice. Tapped inside of that St. Louis end by Connor. Parayko will shepherd that puck into where the corner for Fowler. Curls back in behind his own net. Cam Fowler leads the attack towards center ice for Neighbors. Crossed over the line. Buchnevich back door on the far side, looking to spot one of his mates coming in late. Winnipeg broke that up. That was Faxa. Faxa out at center ice. Came up with a loose puck. Poked it back inside his own zone. Suter takes a hard body check again from Tatum, but he rolled it around to the near side. Faxa out towards center ice. Skipping inside the zone, though, is Toromchenko. He whipped it toward the net. Stopped by Hellebuyck. It careened to the far side. Picked up by Appleton. Down the right wing boards, moving in, and a backdoor attempt here to the near side for Lowry. Couldn't get a stick on it. Good backtrack there by Radek Faxa. Back the other way at center ice. Sent inside that Winnipeg end. Controlled by the Jets. Right on the tape. Pionk now for Lowry. Lowry chugs inside the zone. Rolled it around to the far side. Pulled off the wall there by Appleton. Put back in behind the net. Overskated by Lowry. Dumped toward the line. Kept alive by Stanley. Shoots it in toward the corner. Winnipeg wants a change. Leddy back in behind his own net for Nathan Walker. To the near side now again for Sundqvist. And he will dribble that down inside that Winnipeg end. 11:20 remaining in the opening period. No score. Not for a lack of action, though. Some great physicality to start this one. Back toward the line. Sundqvist near side for Parayko. He shoots wide with purpose. Walked away off the stick there of Hellebuyck. And we're going to get a stoppage of play and an interference call coming up against the Jets.
This is kind of in that middle ice area and around the hash marks.
Winnipeg penalty number 5, minor penalty interference.
It'll be Luke Schenn. You saw a member of the St. Louis Blues go down in that middle ice. And that's where I thought the penalty was, but it's actually behind the net. And okay.
11:08 remaining in the first period. St. Louis on the power play. When we come back, awaiting the game's first goal, you're listening to Playoff Hockey for Play Now from downtown Winnipeg and the Winnipeg Jets. Power 97, 680 CJOB.
When you bet with Play Now Sports, goals become goals! Every game will feel like the big game. Bet local with Play Now Sports, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. 18 plus, enjoy responsibly.
Grab your jersey. Grab your generic lager. Impressively standard beer for impressively intense moments. Brewed in Winnipeg by Little Brown Jug. Generic, the most domestic choice.
Brett Vickery here with Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools. Spring is just around the corner, and so are those spring projects. We have specials on miter saws, table saws, track saws, and more to help you get the job done. Pick up a steel earth auger to drill those post holes, and the new Quick Drive Project Pro collated screw driving tool to put it all together. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, proudly Canadian.
You're always welcome here at Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, 1557 King Edward Street.
Fighting crime and crime one drain at a time. There's a reason they call us Mr. as in Mr. Rooter. Every spring, our fair city is under attack by clogged drains and backed up sewers. When melting snow and heavy rains threaten to cause sewage and wastewater to back up into your home, only Mr. Rooter stands between your basement and total plumbing chaos. Call them today to clean your sewers and drains.
Born to be a hero, trained to be a plumber. That's Mr. Rooter.
This is Winnipeg Jets hockey on 680 CJOB.
Luke Schenn for interference at 8:52 of this first period. No score. St. Louis on the power play for the first time tonight. And they win the draw to the left of Hellebuyck. Fowler up top to the near side. Buchnevich. He'll try to play it down low. Good stick there by Sandberg. He freed it up to the near side. Lowry will pounce on that and wrist it all the way down the ice.
Seeing a secondary replay, it was in front of the net where Luke Schenn did kind of throw the stick into Bolduc and knocked him over away from the play. So that's the call, not the hit.
Bolduc on the far side for Thomas. Tried to wrap it around back behind that Winnipeg net. Lost the puck. DeMello got squeezed by a couple of Blues. It came back toward the line. Fowler will hold it to the near side. Winnipeg will try to sweep it out. Fowler kept it in. Onto the far side. Controlled. Quick shot. They score. Robert Thomas on the far side. A great play at the line to hold it for St. Louis. And Winnipeg thought they were going to have some numbers to get it out. It stayed in. Thomas on the far side wrists it home. And it's 1-0 on the power play for St. Louis with 10:28 remaining in this opening period.
Yeah, very nearly a shorthanded 2-on-1 for Winnipeg. Instead, it's kept alive at the blue line, and Robert Thomas is kind of left alone in that left circle, and it's a bouncing puck when it makes its way over to him. But he just takes his time, corrals it, and just before Dylan DeMello is able to get a stick on it, Thomas is able to let it go. He ended the regular season on a 12-game point streak, and if that extended into the postseason, he'd be at 13 now.
So a power play goal for St. Louis. Excellent play by Cam Fowler to hold the line and find Thomas. Thomas is first to the postseason this year. Fowler will collect an assist at 9:31. Puck is sent all the way down the ice inside the Blues end, and we will get a icing call against the Jets. And Pavel Buchnevich will also pick up an assist on that goal.
And this is, of course, it's early, but this is another situation where you go back to, your experiences in the regular season. Being down one this early in the game is not a big deal. And I thought right before the penalty, Winnipeg had kind of started to churn in that offensive zone. So just keep doing what you're doing 5-on-5, and those scoring chances will be there for you.
Braden Schenn will take the draw against Nemesnikov to the right of Hellebuyck. Blues will win it. Back toward the line, Kyrou turns and fires from mid-slot. Stopped by Hellebuyck. Rebound is shepherded out towards center ice. Winnipeg will bang away at that. Picked up by Kyrou again as Nemesnikov got spun off the puck. He'll backhand it in this Kyrou. Far side. Perfetti will leave it now. Sauntering out of his own zone is Niederreiter. Skips inside that Blues end. Pushed into where the corner by Broberg. Puck rolled around there. Niederreiter takes up the fight with Broberg again. Curling back in behind his own net is Jake Neighbors. And he twisted off the boards with some authority and out towards center ice. Winnipeg will tap it ahead. Here they come again. Far side Nemesnikov for Niederreiter. One-handed deep inside that Blues end, and he'll peel off for a line change. Justin Falk, break wide for Broberg, back to Falk, toward his own line to the near side at center ice for Faxa. Redirected down inside the Winnipeg end. DeMello a hard rim around the board. Goes off a stick and rolls back down inside that Blues end. Icing washed out. 9:15 remaining in the opening period. 1-0 St. Louis on a power play goal. Morrissey, good check there on Nathan Walker. Walker came away with a block into where the middle and scampering out towards center ice is Fowler. He'll flip it down inside the Winnipeg end. Korobchenko had a half a step on Stanley. Stanley got enough to knock him off the puck. Iafallo will get it out towards center ice, and the puck will slide back inside. That's St. Louis end. Winnipeg further changes on the fly. to the near side. Robert Thomas with speed down the near side wall. Stopped up into toward the corner. He will lay it around back in behind the net. Hopping to it now is Luke Shen. Some help from Lowry. Came back with a line. It's held by Suter. His shot toward the net. That one wide. Rolled back into toward the corner on the near side. After it goes Thomas. He's pushed against the boards. Hamilton trying to get it out. Finds the stick of Stanley. Stanley into toward the corner. Turned it over. Came toward the front of the net. Backhanded. Blocked by Shen. Out in front. Another shot whipped toward the net by Snuggerud. That's blocked in front as well. And peeling away with the rebound is Tanev. And Winnipeg will slow it down inside their own zone. Couple of huge blocks for the Jets. Shen for Appleton off his stick. And down inside that St. Louis Blues end it goes.
I'm not entirely sure if Mason Appleton knew exactly where the puck was. This shot from Snuggerud ends up hitting him right in the shin pads, but it's a big block.
An offside call at the Jets line against St. Louis. Take a time out of the ice and do the same on your radio. 8 minutes remaining in the first period. The score, St. Louis 1, Winnipeg nothing. You're listening to Winnipeg Jets playoff hockey for Play Now on the radio home of the Jets, Power 97 and 680 CJOB.
You know what goes well with pizza from Santa Lucia Pizza. They've been the leaders in quality since 1971, and now they just keep winning award after award after award. So, sounds like they know a thing or two about making tasty pizza. How about this? When you're getting ready on game day, choose one of Santa Lucia Pizza's many specials or combos, and find out why time and time again it's listed as Manitoba's favorite pizza.
Santa Lucia Pizza. It's all about the sauce.
Innovation, best in class. A vehicle that handles any curve in the road, navigates the bend with ease, and leads on the straightaway. Men's Health Clinic Manitoba offers evidence-based curvature treatments, new non-invasive and virtually painless male dysfunction treatments, minimally invasive prostate treatments, men's aesthetics and genital refinement surgery, no scalpel vasectomies, and more. It feels good to drive with confidence, authority, and maximum satisfaction.
Trust the experts at the only specialist-run men's clinic. Visit mhclinic.ca.
When the game really counts, you want to watch it on the big screen with great food and cheering fans. That's why Tavern United and Garbanzo Sports Pubs are Winnipeg's favorite destinations for playoff hockey. Want to experience a game in person? Tavern United and Garbanzo Sports Pubs are giving away tickets to the next home game. Plus, enjoy great food and beverage specials. Tavern United and Garbanzo Sports Pubs. Manitoba owned, Manitoba grown, and Manitoba proud. Can-Ed Inns thanks you for supporting local. Proudly a part of your community since 1975. Enjoy responsibly.
Bet on Manitoba. Enjoy responsibly. This is Play Now Winnipeg Jets Hockey on 680 CJOB.
Winnipeg Jets Hockey is brought to you in part by South Beach Casino, Boston Pizza, and Chamber Insurance. 1-0 St. Louis. 8 minutes remaining in this first period. Winnipeg will move the puck ahead off a stick of a Blue, and it falls back inside that Blues hand. Rimmed around to the near side. Stopped there by Niederreiter. Placed back in behind the net. Nemestikov goes after it. Bouncing puck. Good body check thrown again there on Nick Leddy by Perfetti. Snapped around the boards and rides up the glass into the meshing and goes out of play. 7:39 remaining in the first period. 1-0 St. Louis, and we'll have a rare face-off inside the Blues end.
Yeah, if you're the road team in St. Louis, it's exactly the start you want. Obviously, you get the game's first goal, but you've kind of come out and set a physical tone. 14-4 are the hits in favor of St. Louis early on, and trying to find a way to keep that Winnipeg crowd out of it. And the Jets trying to find a way to stack a few shifts together here and, if not, tie the game.
Scheifele will take the draw against Faxa. Scheifele is going to be waived. Fans won't like that. Iafallo will come in to replace him to the left of Binnington. Faxa will win it for Broberg into the corner. Twisted off the glass up towards center ice. Puck is sent right back in. Winnipeg's going to be offside, so they'll check up. And now have an opportunity to forecheck. Falk inside his own zone. Drifted off the boards for Robert Thomas across the line. Skips across the line. Got into where the slot now for Buchnevich. Now coming in late was Neighbors. A backhand toward the net. That is stopped. Rebound is grabbed by Winnipeg. They're a little slow moving the puck. It came back into where the slot. They gave it away. Neighbors moving it. Shooting! And it's stopped again by Hellebuyck. Bounced that off his blocker. Came back for the line. Chugging after it there is Parayko. Parayko moved the puck back in behind the net. Thomas with the puck. Thomas shifting into where the corner. Thomas rolling around, back out in front. He put it onto the skate, now onto the stick of Fowler. Shoots, that's blocked by Iafallo. Grabbed it again, back toward the line. Parayko shooting. And it ricocheted off of Kyle Connor and wide. Darting to the puck on the far side is Connor. Out towards center ice for Iafallo. And backhanded down inside. That's St. Louis end. And Winnipeg's top line will make a change. St. Louis is going to be fingered for a penalty as they were touching the puck. And they'll go and grab somebody off the bench to send him to the penalty box.
St. Louis 63, minor penalty slashing.
Jake Neighbors for slashing.
Well, here's the opportunity that you're looking for Winnipeg. And Alex Iafallo dumps the puck in, and then it's just the follow-through by Neighbors. He gives him a shot as he's dumping the puck in. That's fine. It was just a little bit of a shove, but it's after the puck is gone that Neighbors sends the extra whack. So that's what draws the penalty. What the crowd didn't like early on was right after that face-off that Mark Scheifele was initially kicked out of. St. Louis wins it back into the corner, and as Scheifele's heading toward that puck, he almost gets picked, and he gets that shoulder right up under the chin. He's kind of motioning the officials now that that's what he received, but Winnipeg's got a power play now and a big chance.
Jets are on the Prairie Battery power play. Your one-stop battery source is Winnipeg-born and Canadian-owned. PrairieBattery.ca. St. Louis wins the draw. They rim it around to the near side. Stopped at the point here by Perfetti to the near side for Kyle Connor. Connor at the hash marks. Curls, put it back toward the line. Morrissey headed back off for Connor. Down low, Scheifele. Scheifele scores! I think he tried to pass the puck and it went off a stick of one of the Blues and up underneath the bar on Binnington, who was anticipating moving with the pass. And Winnipeg will tie it. Just 16 seconds into the power play. And we're locked at 1. 6:22 remaining in this first period.
They don't ask how, they just ask how many. And Winnipeg does a good job of keeping this puck in even after losing the initial face-off. And we talked about playoff experience. Mark Scheifele's got 21 goals in the postseason, now 22. And one when his team and the crowd really needed it to get themselves back into this one. I agree with you, Paul. I think he was trying to go cross crease. It goes off of Suter's stick and under the bar.
And Winnipeg will wrap it back inside that Blues end. Quickly to it. Lowry shoveled it toward the net. That hit a skate. Sent around to the far side. Kept alive by Pionk. Shoveled it toward the corner. Winnipeg after it again. Pulled off the wall and sent out towards center ice by St. Louis. They garnered that puck quickly, and Falk will just gently send it down inside that Winnipeg end. Sandberg rims it around out towards center ice. Fight for the puck there between Appleton and Broberg. Snuggerud felt the wrath of the captain. Captain gave him a shot in front of that Jets bench over to the far side. They're still digging for the puck. Under 6 minutes remaining in the opening period. Tied at 1. Winnipeg with the puck inside their own zone. Tanev will flip it out towards center ice. He was hurried there, and it bounces inside the Blues end. Leddy on the far side for Broberg. Fans are right into it again. To the near side again for Matthew Joseph. He couldn't penetrate the line. Winnipeg will put it ahead. Jared Anderson-Dolan moving in, shooting! And he hit the post. It grazed off of Binnington and hit the near side post. Excellent shot for Jan off the rush. Jared Anderson-Dolan back toward the line. Winnipeg will hold it. Shen shoots. That one wide. Back to the near side. Put back. Slap shot by Stanley. That drifts wide. Collected again to the far side. Gustafsson back toward the line. Shen moving in, shooting. Deflected in front. They score! Morgan Barron with a huge deflection off that point shot from Luke Shen. It's 2 quickies for Winnipeg, and they lead it 2-1 with just under 5 minutes remaining in this first period.
Morgan Barron didn't get to play in the playoffs last year because of injury. Talk about making an impact in game number 1. Makes a nice calm play with the puck earlier in the shift along the right wing wall. And then when David Gustafsson's able to make a slick pass to Luke Shen high in the zone, Morgan Barron takes away the eyes of Jordan Binnington, gets right on top of the crease, and just a beautiful deflection. Luke Shen puts this shot exactly where it needs to be. Barron makes no mistake, and all of a sudden, Winnipeg's up 2-1.
So Winnipeg has their first lead of this game and of the series. And they'll stuff it down inside that Blues end again. Faxa will send it all the way down. Icing washed out. Getting there first was Nathan Walker. Cuts the puck back in behind the net on that foot race with Stanley. Korovchenko is there as well along that back wall. Stanley with the puck. Stanley along the boards into where the corner for Luke Schenn. Trying to move it ahead now for Perfetti. Squeezed into where the corner. Schenn comes in like a big brother to bowl over a couple of Blues and come away with a puck. He rolled it around to the near side for Stanley. Outlet it up along the boards for Niederreiter. He twists away from some traffic, slows it down, and Winnipeg will get a line change. Fans are on Jordan Binnington right now. Scooting through that neutral ice to the far side. Connor slap shot, stop, rebound. Grabbed again by Scheifele. High follow, high slot, shoots, and he just missed the top corner of the far side. Kept alive by DeMello. Now rotating off the boards again is Connor. Connor fights for the block to the near side for Scheifele. Back for Connor. Bouncing block. Chopped it into where the corner. Settled down by Scheifele. Back toward the line. Morrissey shoots through traffic. Popped off the body of Thomas onto the far side. And now Neighbors will send it to the near side. Moved up along the boards by Falk. And alleviating some pressure. It's shuttled all the way down by the Blues inside of that Winnipeg end. Blues are on their heels right now. Fans are into it. 3.5 remaining in this opening period. 2-1 Winnipeg on your radio over the Jets. Power 97 at 680 CJOB. Far side and Fowler snapped it inside the Winnipeg end. Rolled around to the near side. Jammed up along the boards. Winnipeg will shovel it out off the stick there of Appleton to center ice. Fowler cruises back inside his own zone. He'll leave it now for Colton Parayko. Far side now for Fowler. Kicked it from his skate to his stick. He'll alley-oop it down inside that Winnipeg end. After on the retrieve, Sandberg to the near side for Appleton. On his opposite side, he curls into where the middle of the ice. He advances the puck for Lowry. He chucks inside the zone. He put it back toward the line. Nobody home, and a line change coming late. Now out to center ice. DeMello will slap it right back in. Tumbled around again to the near side. Pulled off the wall by Leddy. Played back in behind his own net to the far side for Suter. Right on the tape for Sundqvist. Laid into where the middle for Matthew Joseph. He hustles for the Jets line. Came across the line. Twisted it toward the net. Hit the body there of Morrissey. Morrissey up along the board. Stopped by Leddy, who pitched in. Leddy gave it away though to David Gustafsson. Good defensive play by Gustafsson. Rolled it around to the far side for Jared Anderson-Dolan. He takes a bump, but will wait for some help and wait for some support. Winnipeg will try to dig it off the wall. DeMello does. Rolled it around again for Morrissey. Outlet it near side for Barron. Out toward his own line to center ice. Lost the puck. Then it hit him again. But it's grabbed now by Bolduc. 2-on-2. Pass to himself in the slot. Shoots. And it's blocked nicely there by Schenn again. Grabbed it by Sundqvist. Keeps it in the line for Falk. Shoots. Stopped by Hellebuyck's right pad. Back toward the line. Held by Bolduc. Bolduc tried to pass it into the slot. Bounced off of Schenn and a shot. They score. Oscar Sundqvist was standing right there, and it bounced off of Luke Schenn right to Sundqvist, and he wristed it home past Hellebuyck, and we're tied at 2 with under 2 minutes remaining in this first period.
Nobody on the Winnipeg Jets could really get a hold of this puck, and St. Louis has kept trying to send pucks toward Connor Hellebuyck, and Luke Schenn's able to get this one to go off of his skate, and it just takes a bunch of spin right off his skate, lands in front of him and shoots forward. So when he goes to swat it away with his stick, it's just out of his reach and ends up right where you just don't want it to go in that slot. And it's Oscar Sundqvist, who maybe not known for the goal scoring, but in a big moment comes up big for his team to tie the game.
Well, he's one of the St. Louis Blues that was there in 2019 to win the Cup. So he has some experience in big games in the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Winnipeg behind their own net. Luke Schenn up along the boards on the far side and out towards center ice. Niederreiter across the line. Domestikov protects the puck, crossed over the line, heads it back for Niederreiter. He takes a bump for Domestikov. Coming in late to the near side, Stanley. Stanley reaches for the puck, holds it in, put it back in behind the net. At the side of the net, backhanded there by Perfetti. Stopped by Binnington. Pushed into where the corner is Perfetti. Swirling after it now is Domestikov. Back with the line, Sandberg. Far side, Pionk off the bench. His shot ricochets off a body, up and over the back glass, and out of play it goes. And then finishing his check on Radek Faxa, who blocked that shot, is Nito Niederreiter. And the linesman will move in to break that up. But a flurry of goals here. 4 goals scored in 9 minutes of this period, but nothing settled. 1:03 remaining in the first. Winnipeg 2, St. Louis 2. You're listening to Play Now. Winnipeg Jets playoff hockey on the radio home of the Jets, Power 97 and 680 CJOB.
You can now get your local news from 680 CJOB instantly on Amazon Alexa. Just add CJOB to your flash briefings on any Alexa device and say,
Alexa, play me the news.
It's that easy.
When you bet with Play Now Sports, goals become... Every game will feel like the big game. Bet local with Play Now Sports, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. 18 plus, enjoy responsibly.
For fun and reliability you can count on, your one-stop battery source is Canadian-owned Prairie Battery.
Prairie Battery is family-owned and operated, providing reliable and trusted battery power. When you want true power, come see Prairie Battery and the Prairie Battery team, or visit us at prairiebattery.ca.
When you need batteries for industrial, commercial, auto, recreational, marine RVs, and more, it can only be prairiebattery.ca.
Got pain? Meet the Manitoba Physiotherapy Association, a professional organization fostering excellence in practice, education, and research, with over 500 licensed physiotherapists and physiotherapy students in the province. The goal of MPA is to advance the profession of physiotherapy and to improve the health of Manitobans. So when you visit your physiotherapist, you can rest assured that you'll have received the highest standard of care. And if you don't already have a physiotherapist, you can learn more and find one at mbphysio.org.
Hey, this is Logan Stanley, and you're listening to Winnipeg Jets Hockey with Paul Edmonds and Mitchell Clinton on 680 CJOB.
Talk about the feature item of the game momentarily. 103 remaining as we welcome you back in this first period, tied at 2. St. Louis went up 1-0. Winnipeg scored 2 quickies, made it 2-1, and then St. Louis has come back to tie it. And it's lifted up towards center ice by Fowler on a face-off win. Winnipeg will try to brush it back inside that St. Louis end. Grabbed by Buchnevich, put it as far as that Jets line, broken up. Back the other way. Connor, far side. Scheifele back for Connor. Darts into where the corner. Turns and fires off the instep to Parayko. And Neighbors will backhand it all the way down. This should be icing. And it is against the Blues. So Jet fans, tonight's feature item of the game is official WPG Whiteout 2025 Stanley Cup Playoff apparel. Choose from a wide variety of men's, women's, and kids' styles available at any of our Jets gears locations and online at TrueNorthShop.com. That's official Winnipeg Jets WPG Whiteout apparel. Jets Gear, the official team store of the Winnipeg Jets. Neighbors out towards center ice. Softly sent down inside the Winnipeg end. Hellebuyck out of his net to play that around the board to the far side onto the stick of the wrong guy. Robert Thomas back for the line. Parayko shoots, blocked in front. Thomas had a whack at it. Another whack on it. Blocked there by Pionk back toward the line. Fowler shoots. The slap shot and stopped by Hellebuyck, and then some wrestling at the side of the net. Neil Pionk has bulldogged the helmet almost off of Jake Neighbors. And is there going to be penalties to both of these guys or just simple separation? No, they're going to call a penalty on Neil Pionk. Can't bulldog guys.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be for. And this is kind of the time of year where you're rarely going to see both taken. It's going to be just one.
4 minor penalty for roughing.
It's kind of the only way to really quell the pushing and shoving that occurs after basically every whistle. And the initial tie-up by Pionk is fine. I think it's when he kind of pulls Neighbors downward
in a headlock.
That ends up being where the call comes from.
18 seconds remaining in the first period. Tied at 2. St. Louis's first goal was on the power play, so they're back on the power play for the second time tonight. Winnipeg will win the draw. And scrambling for some free ice on the far side, Luke Shen, and he'll paddle it all the way down the ice. 8 seconds to go in the opening period. Fowler through the middle of the ice at center. Swings to the far side, 2 seconds. To the near side, and that'll do it for 20. In downtown, and the Stanley Cup Playoffs first period is complete for the Winnipeg Jets and St. Louis Blues, and nothing is settled, tied at 2.
Kind of a roundabout way to get there, but we're still on even terms through 20 minutes. And I think Winnipeg, the focus was trying to make sure that they use the crowd, but not, run out of position maybe a little bit of a tentative start and a strong start from St. Louis, but I thought Winnipeg's bounce back was great in that first period. They give up the game's first goal. They don't go away. They take advantage of a power play. And then on top of that, they give themselves a 2-1 lead. Probably just cleaning some things up in their own zone, making sure that they get those clears from the front of their net when possible, and then make those plays along the wall as well to make sure that puck gets out.
Jet fans, you can continue to get ready for the Winnipeg Whiteout with Jets gear at TrueNorthShop.com. Choose from a huge variety of apparel, headwear, novelties, and more. Need a new jersey for the Whiteout? We've got you covered there too. TrueNorthShop.com. Let's have a look at the stats summary through 20 minutes. Robert Thomas opened the scoring, his first of the playoffs on the power play from Cam Fowler and Pavel Buchnevich at 9:31, so 1-0 for St. Louis. 4 minutes later, the Winnipeg Jets tied it on the power play. Mark Scheifele, his first of the postseason, from Connor and Morrissey at 13:38. And then Winnipeg, less than 2 minutes later, took a 2-1 lead. Even strength, a point shot deflection by Morgan Barron beats Jordan Binnington. That point shot was conducted by Luke Schenn, who collects an assist along with David Gustafsson at 15:02. 2-1 Winnipeg, but 3 minutes later at 18:10, Oscar Sundqvist, his first of the playoffs from Bolduc and Falk, ties the score at 2. That's where we stand at the end of 1. Downstairs to Morgan Barron. Thanks a lot for taking the time, and your thoughts on that opening period of the playoffs.
Yeah, it was eventful. Obviously probably a few too many chances we gave up there. It kind of felt like a lot of it was self-inflicted, so we'll try to clean that up. But, obviously physical and a lot of back and forth.
And Morgan, obviously injury kept you from being in the postseason last year. How did it feel to get on the board, give your team a 2-1 lead and score in this madness?
Yeah, it's obviously a lot of fun. The crowd's awesome, and this is kind of the hockey you want to play. It's a meaningful game, so definitely a lot more fun to be a part of it than to be watching.
Morgan, thanks a lot for your time. We appreciate it. Good luck in the second and third.
Thanks, guys.
Morgan Barron from downstairs joining us here as well. We can continue just talking about the power play opportunities. Winnipeg is 1 for 1, and St. Louis is 1 for 1, but they're on their second, carried over 1 minute and 42 seconds from the first into the second with a fresh sheet of ice. And St. Louis outshoots the Winnipeg Jets 9-6 in that first period. So nothing settled. Two teams are tied at 2. St. Louis outshooting Winnipeg 9-6, and some power play opportunities for both teams as well. First intermission report is coming up next with Kelly Moore and Dwayne Gilroy-Chuck. The score, as mentioned, Winnipeg 2, St. Louis 2 after 1. You're listening to Play Now. Winnipeg Jets playoff hockey on the radio home of the Jets, Power 97 and 680 CJOB.
Lowry moving in, shoot, score! Jets fans, it's your chance to win big all night long with our playoff 50-50 raffle. Get your tickets now for a shot at multiple cash prizes during the game, ranging from $1,000 to $25,000. Plus, one lucky winner will take home 50% of the total sales at the end of the series. Don't miss out. Text JETS to 20450 for your chance to win. That's JETS to 20450.
Hey everyone, Adney and Verk here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch the movie because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheetah exhibit. The cheetah took a piece out of him, and he came into the ring the next day.
Tune in to NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Boston Pizza is Canada's go-to place for playoffs. So this year, we're doing more than just hoping a Canadian team wins it all. We're manifesting it. We're planning the parade. We even got a bus. And we've got the sports bar dialed in, with ice-cold draft beer and an elite playoff menu. Like the guy in the movie said, kind of.
If we plan it, we will win.
So when it's game day, post up early at BP and cheer for the Holy Grail to come home.
You are locked and loaded to Winnipeg Jets hockey on 680 CJOB.
A 2-2 hockey game after 20 minutes of play in the opener of this series between the Winnipeg Jets and St. Louis Blues, as we welcome you from a sold-out and white-clad Canada Life Center. I'm Kelly Moore, along with the coach Dwayne Gilavoy, and Jets fans. It's your chance to win big all night long with our playoff 50-50 raffle. Multiple cash prizes during the game, up to $25,000. Plus, one lucky winner takes home 50% of the total sales at the end of the series. Text Jets to 20450 for your chance to win. Well, Mr. Gilavoy, what did you think of that opening 20 minutes between the Jets and Blues?
Well, I think there's a little bit of, you could check a lot of boxes that, like things that could transpire in the first period of a hockey game anytime. The referees, stated their welcome. They made some calls. They laid down what the discipline, what the kind of, factor is going to be, what they're going to let go, not let go. Some bad puck management by both teams, some lucky puck bounces, a little bit of everything. But I think that both teams settled in. It's going to be a series now, but we're kind of presented with the type of series it's going to be. It's going to be heavy, it's going to be fast, and it's going to be won along the boards and in front of the net.
It's very interesting. In the 4-game series between these two teams, they combined for the grand total of 2 power play goals on 18 chances. Winnipeg was 1 for 7. St. Louis was 1 for 11. They equaled that on each of their first 2 opportunities. What did you see on those power plays that made it work for both sides?
Well, I think on the St. Louis power play, Fowler makes a desperation, kind of backhand just to keep the puck in. But, it goes to the other side of the ice. Winnipeg had really forced the play, which they like to be really aggressive on their PK. 3 guys were caught up top, and then all of a sudden Fowler makes a desperation kind of play just to put it to an open area ice where they could recover the puck. And then all of a sudden it becomes a little bit of a 2-on-1 down low. DeMello kind of forces, and it's a great shot. Thomas is going to put that puck in. That's a goal scorer's goal.
Yeah.
And that's, you can't, I don't think Connor Hellebuyck would want that one, but knowing him, he'd say he'd want it back. That'd be something that he'd want to try. And on Winnipeg's power play, the biggest thing I've seen on that is how Winnipeg, you could tell they've done a pre-scout. Barenko was going to rim that puck around the wall. Instead of having their player down low by the face-off to get puck possession, Perfetti's back on a defenseman spot. He's able to control the puck, get it down. But Kyle Connor's on the other side of the ice. He wasn't on the flip side of the ice. Now, it'd be interesting to see if that's something they're going to do, but it was more of an overload situation, and you could just tell that, Mark Scheifele was trying to go back door to the player, to Iafallo or in the slot, but it's just a puck bounce, and it's just a prime example. They don't ask how you score the goals. They ask you how many in the playoffs, and it just get puck on net. You never know if it's going to go in.
Yeah, it really looked like Winnipeg turned a big corner on that power play goal. Jared Anderson-Dolan rings one off the post about a minute later, and then 84 seconds after that, that fourth line is still out there. And, we see the finished product with Morgan Barron, but it's a great decision by David Gustafsson that gets that whole play started.
It's this, honest, hard work play. The thing is that the puck got kept in below. David Gustafsson was able to get that puck down low. He was able to bring out of the corner, and he had his head up, and instead of going direct to Luke Schenn from the point, Luke Schenn gets off the boards, gets to the middle of the ice, and it's a pass that, you have to be pretty precise to go underneath a stick. And then Luke Schenn does what, he's been taught. Just put a puck on net, get it away quick, and there was all kinds of traffic in front of the net, and a great tip by Morgan Barron.
And then he gets a tough hop single at the other end of the ice on the tying goal.
Yeah, it's just a bad bounce, and it all started with, they didn't get the puck out the very first time they had an opportunity, kind of got stalled on the boards.
Like the penalty kill.
Exactly. The puck went back in, and the puck was bouncing around everywhere. Then all of a sudden there's a rebound, and it's just a little bit of a mishandle. It almost looks like he just didn't get everything on it, and it goes right to, I think it was Sundqvist that scored, right?
Yes, it was.
Right to Sundqvist in the high slot. Again, it was just a quick reaction shot that got put on net.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a bad luck there, but as Morgan Barron said, there were some things to clean up that were mostly self-inflicted, so we'll see if the Jets could do that in the second period. They will need to, because the middle frame on the season was best for the Blues, but then again, these two teams only scored 2 power play goals in 4 games, so we're really starting with a fresh deck of cards. What did you make of the Blues' physicality? They doubled the hits in that first period, 25-13, led by their captain, Braden Schenn, with 7.
Yeah, you know what? You could really tell right from the first face-off. They got pucks in deep, and they sent 2 forwards in, and they were going to be physical on the forecheck. And the place that I was really surprised they were really physical was in the neutral zone. You don't see a lot of those hits, but anytime Winnipeg D were either trying to get to the red line to get the puck in deep or on a D-to-D transfer from one side to the other ice, they really made Winnipeg D pay the price. And I think all those Winnipeg D are going to know they're in a series now after that first period, and that's exactly what you want your team to do, so give credit to St. Louis.
From that perspective, though, if St. Louis is going to try to maintain that type of physicality, that's a real tough thing to do for all 3 periods, and especially for all 6 or 7 games, depending on how far it goes.
It really is. And, give credit to Winnipeg. You could tell they made a little bit of adjustment where they started going back to the weak side, hitting the weak, net front D, and also, just trying to skate the pucks out of the end a little bit more than trying to make that pass where the D were going to be left in a vulnerable position. But you're exactly right. You can be physical as you want. It's a hard game to play for 7 games in a series or for 3 periods in a hockey game.
Well, Mark Scheifele did get a chance to take 4 face-offs. He got waved out at about 4 draws as well. I kind of thought St. Louis would have the advantage based on the regular season statistics. They were the better face-off team, and they won 10 of the 17 to start. Although I don't know that on any of those face-offs that they won that they created something as a result of it. Most of it was done on their own end.
Yeah, a lot of those faces came off delayed icings or, pucks that Binnington had to, kind of freeze to get a face-off. Winnipeg was able to get an offensive zone face-off in the zone, and a lot of times Mark Scheifele went out against the 3rd line, the 4th line, and that's what you want. They've got to find a way to get puck possession in those and at least make St. Louis pay a little bit off a quality scoring chance.
All right, Coach, we shall talk to you in the second intermission. Dylan Sandberg leading all players time on ice in that first period with 8 minutes and 34 seconds. We'll come back with a scoreboard update next. It is 2-2 in Game 1 after 1 on Power 97 and 680 CJOB.
Men's sexual wellness is an integral part of your overall health as you get older and a very private subject. At Buenafi Clinic, we treat your sexual health with the utmost privacy. When you're not comfortable searching online for men's sexual wellness, give Buenafi Clinic a call at 204-697-9013. Book your confidential initial visit today with me, Dr. J. Call me at 204-697-9013. That's 204-697-9013.
When you bet with Play Now Sports, goals become... Every game will feel like the big game. Bet local with Play Now Sports, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. 18 plus, enjoy responsibly.
Winnipeg, are you whiteout ready? Choose Hometown Pride. Choose 1919. Brewed by Little Brown Jug, Manitoba's flagship beer since 2016. Here's to building something memorable.
There's nothing quite like the playoffs. And there's no better way to enjoy the games than in the comfort of your own home.
Top shelf, baby!
JS Furniture wants you to break away with these amazing deals. Save up to 40% off 4 model recliners and select reclining sofas, so you can watch every hit, shot, and celly. JS Furniture, serving you for over 50 years. 1725 Ellis Avenue in Winnipeg, and now open in their new location in Portage la Prairie. Visit furnitureandmore.ca.
Winnipeg Jets exclusive coverage continues on 680 CJOB and CJKR 97.5 FM Powered 97, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. This is Play Now Winnipeg Jets Hockey.
Mark Scheifele ties the game 1-1 on the power play with his 22nd career playoff goal. So congratulations to Jason Krudish and Brenda Wojcicki, who correctly predicted Mark Scheifele would score Winnipeg's first goal of the game for the Jets. And, of course, Morgan Barron followed up with his first ever playoff goal on a neat deflection to give the Jets a 2-1 lead that was somewhat short-lived as St. Louis would come back to tie it up. So Jason Krudish, Brenda Wojcicki, you win a pair of single-night tickets to the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival coming up July 18th through 20th at Assiniboine Park. Just one other playoff game on opening night of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. That's a 7:30 start in Dallas, where the Stars are at home to the Colorado Avalanche. At 7 o'clock, and just a little under an hour from now, the Manitoba Moose finish up their regular season visiting the Texas Stars. Earlier today, the United States edged Czechia 2-1. Canada bombed Finland 8-1. So it'll be Canada and the United States again in the gold medal final of the World Women's Championship being played overseas in Czechia. 8 o'clock face-off tonight at at East End Community Center. Transcona at home to St. Boniface. Reals are up 3-1 in that Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League Championship Series. NBA playoffs, Indiana over Milwaukee 117-98. Denver outlasts the LA Clippers 112-110 in overtime in the first two games of the NBA postseason. Seattle was able to double up on the Toronto Blue Jays 8-4, and at halftime, Valor FC a 1-0 lead over Forge FC in the Canadian Premier League. It's 2-2. St. Louis on the power play for a minute and 42 seconds when we return to Canada Life Center on Power 97 and 680 CJOB.
If it sounds too good to be true, well, you know the rest. But I get it. Some deals sound tempting, like this guy.
These prices are insane! The boss has lost his mind!
When it comes to your home's heating system, do you really want to do business with a company that resorts to gimmicks like this? You could call them and see what they are really offering, and then give Mr. Furnace a call. In fact, they encourage you to call around and get quotes first, and then call Mr. Furnace. You'll see why. Give it a try. Call 204-832-6243.
How has Ag Direct Hail become one of the...
Hey, I'm Mike. And I'm Brett. At Mid-Canada Fasteners, we've always done business the way we did when we started. Our job is to do whatever we can to get you back to work.
And make your life easy as a contractor. Now we just have more selection, more inventory, and even better parking.
Come on in where everybody knows your name.
For good old-fashioned service and a selection that's second to none.
Shop where the professional tradespeople shop. You're always welcome here at Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, 1557 King Edward Street.
You are locked and loaded to Winnipeg Jets hockey on 680 CJOB.
So at 9:31, the scoring opened, and then at 18:10 of the first period, it ended. In between there, goals at 13:38 for the Jets, and at 15:02, the Jets goals coming a minute and 24 seconds apart. Time of the goals, by the way, for JS Furniture. Visit us online at furnitureandmore.ca. Ball change for both teams as we get ready for the second period. 1:42 remaining in the penalty to Neil Pionk, and a power play for St. Louis. Pionk for roughing. So 5-on-4, and the puck is popped back inside that Blues end. Fowler in front of his own net. Swivels out toward his own blue line, dropped it for Buchnevich onto the far side, tapped inside the zone by Snuggerud, and rolled around to the near side. After it goes Lowry. He moved it up along the boards and one-handed off the boards nicely by Iafo and up towards center ice. Fowler will drop it at his own line, and again, speeding through that neutral ice is Robert Thomas. Far side, now Rick wide to Bolduc, captures the puck, put it back in behind the net for Thomas, back toward the line. Fowler ambles to it, holds the line to the near side for Thomas, played it back in behind the net, intercepted by Sandberg, protects the puck, rolled around to the far side, and Lowry chopped it out, a race for the puck, all the way down inside the Blues end. Lowry will pick it up, back in behind the Blues net. Three Blues are in on him. He controls the puck, takes a body check to the near side, digs at it at the wall, and then had to give up possession of it. There was too many Blues there. Robert Thomas skipped across the Jets line and stumbled with a puck. It caused an offside. 57 seconds into this second period, tied at 2. 47 seconds remaining in the penalty to Neil Pionk, and Adam Lowry did chug off for a line change.
I believe Adam Lowry was one of the players on the first penalty kill of the game that was high in the zone that Fowler was able to keep in. This time Adam Lowry said absolutely not, and used that long reach to chip it off the wall and then gave chase. We saw it a lot in kind of the second half of the regular season where Adam Lowry would kind of try and hang on to that puck deep in the power play team's end, and he did just that once again there, killed off a few more seconds.
Kyrou will shoot it in. Neighbors will pull it off the wall back toward the line for Falk on the far side again for Kyrou. Moves in, shoots, and scores. He had 36 in the regular season. He's got 1 in the postseason. And St. Louis, for the second time here tonight, has a power play goal, and they've regained the lead. It's 3-2 for the Blues.
Yeah, this one from the top of the circle on stick side on Connor Hellebuyck, and a couple of Jets in the lane, and Oscar Sundqvist also taking away the eyes of the Jets goaltender, and a couple of perfect shots on the power play, kind of from the flanks, if you will, from St. Louis, and their power play rolling right along after going 3 for 6 in their regular season finale against Utah.
So Kyrou, his first of the postseason. It comes at 1:13 of this second period. Time of the goal for JS Furniture. Visit us online at furnitureandmore.ca. 3-2 St. Louis. So Winnipeg back to full strength. Off the ensuing face-off. Set down inside the Winnipeg end. We'll get a stoppage of play. And that's going to be an icing call against the Blues. And we welcome you back, by the way, to the broadcast booth, which is for Namath Diamonds. For your diamond engagement ring, see Namath Diamonds, a family tradition of excellence in Southdale Square.
Kind of a similar situation to St. Louis's first power play goal. Winnipeg just kind of has to stay in their game and respond. And, you want to play with a whole bunch of energy, but you got to make sure that you're playing within your game, play within your structure.
Backs at center ice, crossed over the line, swings to the near side, shoots toward the net, put that wide. Winnipeg will try to bang it off the boards and out. Stays inside the zone on the retrieve. Stanley up along the board, stopped there by Parayko. Pushed into toward the corner. Stanley ties up Walker. Out of his own zone, Iafallo to center. And he'll send it down inside that Blues end. Winnipeg will make some changes to the back end. Binnington will snap it around to the near side, pulled off the wall by Connor. Set back in behind the net. Scheifele after the puck there, trying to reach the hole and in. Got tripped up by Parayko. Penalty coming up to Colt Parayko. Winnipeg will snatch the puck, send it around to the near side. Hellebuyck to the bench for the extra attacker. And DeMello tried to get it in toward the slot for Kyle Connor. It was back in behind him, touched by a Blue, and Winnipeg will go back onto the power play tonight.
Scheifele was kind of frustrated with himself behind the net because he didn't corral that rim.
St. Louis number 55, Leonard penalty for tripping.
But he sticks with it, and because he does, he's able to draw this tripping call where Parayko just reaches in to try to play the puck and grabs a little bit of Scheifele's left skate, and the Jets forward goes down. But obviously at the end of a shift for that Scheifele line, so we'll start with Niederreiter, Barron, Appleton, Nemestikov, and Pionk.
And the Jets are back on the Prairie Battery power play. Your one-stop battery source is Winnipeg-born and Canadian-owned. PrairieBattery.ca. Jets are 1 for 1 with a man advantage. They could use another power play goal to equal the output of St. Louis in this game already with 2. And the Jets also trailed by 1. They lost the draw and it sent all the way down. Here comes Winnipeg through that neutral ice to the near side. Beeling in toward the corner. Inside that Blues end is Appleton now for Nemestikov. Paddled around to the near side. Charging after. Winnipeg will hold the line. And Barron to the near side. Put back in behind the net. Appleton. Niederreiter goes after to the far side. Sit back for the line. Dug off the wall and held true by Pionk. Pionk at the line. Pionk walks into a slap shot. Deflected in front. And that just went wide. Barron after the puck. Frees it up. Appleton twisted around to the far side. Niederreiter up top. Pionk to the near side now. Nemestikov. Nemestikov back toward the line. Pionk. Pionk, a little head shake. Shoots. Blocked in front. Came back to him again. He'll hold the line. Far side for Niederreiter. Snapped off a shot. Blocked there by Fowler. And one-handed ejected out towards center ice. And Winnipeg will make some changes. And Pionk will fall back inside his own zone.
Really good puck pursuit by Morgan Barron. After going for that deflection on the Pionk shot, it ends up going behind the net. He takes a couple of hard strides, ditches his check in front of the net, and is able to get to that puck and allow Winnipeg to keep churning.
Connor for Scheifele, dropped to the line, and now across the line on the far side is Perfetti. To the near side, Iafallo. Winnipeg will get it established again. Connor at the hash marks here, 35 seconds to go on the power play. Down low for Scheifele, far side, Perfetti. Perfetti spins away from some traffic. He will hand it back off for Scheifele at the hash marks on the far side. Scheifele stick handling, Scheifele surveying, Scheifele down low. Iafallo back for Scheifele. Scheifele back toward the line from Morrissey. Pass was too far for him. He had to reach for it. By that time, it scored it back out towards center ice. Here comes Mark Scheifele leading the attack across the line. Weak shot toward the net. Stopped with the stick there of Binnington, but Falk gave it away. Sent it back out in front. Iafallo a shot as he fended off a check of Sundqvist. And he Didn't get great velocity on it. It was easily handled by Binnington, and he'll hang on for whistle. 1 second remaining in the penalty to Colton Parayko. 15:57 to go in the second period. 3-2 St. Louis.
I think Scheifele either took a bit of a whack or just kind of got checked just as he was trying to release that shot, so it ended up not having a whole lot on it. But good on Winnipeg once again to retrieve that puck and create a little bit off of it, and Scheifele very nearly able to kind of thread that pass through to Iafallo in the front of the net. I don't think Iafallo got everything on it he was hoping for, but Winnipeg looking dangerous on the power play.
Face off to the right of Binnington. Winnipeg won the draw back toward the line. Sandberg whipped it toward the net. Tumbled off a body again and just wide. Ricocheted toward the corner. Grabbed by Tanev. Now for Appleton. Back toward the line. Sandberg slap shot. Stopped by Binnington. He didn't know where it was. He found it off his pad and smothers that. So Winnipeg 1 for 2 at the man advantage. St. Louis back to full strength. 15:44 to go in the second. Blues by 1. And Winnipeg Jets hockey brought to you in part by Mid-Canada Fasteners, San Lucia Pizza, and Mr. Furnace.
Middle ice so hard to get to in the postseason, but Winnipeg really seems to be sticking to that low to high and try to get bodies, and it benefited them on the Barron goal and very nearly did on this play.
Winnipeg after a puck on the far side. Tanev came away with it back toward the line. Neil Pionk winds up slap shot through traffic just wide. Kept him on the far side. Sandberg back toward the net. Juggled there and stopped by Binnington. Popped in toward the corner. Settled down by Leddy. Hard off the boards and out towards center ice. Pionk on the far side. Moved it ahead. Lowry slightly in ahead of the play. Or had Tanev not come all the way back out. Or maybe even Appleton. Take your pick. Offside, Winnipeg.
I believe it was Tanev on this one, and just a really quick reload by Winnipeg in the neutral zone, and Pionk going from strong side to weak side to Adam Lowry on the left side of the ice. And just as Lowry accepted that pass, Brandon Tanev was still about a foot inside the zone, just hadn't quite tagged up yet.
15:23 remaining in this second period. 3-2. For the Blues. The faceoff will be outside the Jets' blue line, near side wall to us. Barron against Nathan Walker. Scramble faceoff. Pulled it back to his own line for Broberg. And then dumped inside the Winnipeg end. Back in behind the goal. Paddled around there by Morrissey. Scraped off the boards, and Barron will hop out towards center ice. Lead pass for Jared Anderson-Dolan. Flying inside the zone. Back in toward the net. And it's stopped by Binnington. And then crashing into the goaltender there was Morgan Barron. Good body check there on Binnington. No penalties. Back the other way. And out towards center ice. Set back in by Anderson-Dolan. Winnipeg tried to get the puck. Binnington was out. Had it fished off his stick, but he got some help from Snuggerud. And out towards center ice on the far side for Falk. And he'll gently send it down inside the Winnipeg end. And off on a line change. DeMello rolled it around to the near side. Anderson-Dolan up along the boards. Chipped off the boards there by Barron and out towards center ice. Parayko back inside his own zone. Lead pass for Thomas. Too far for him. Icing will be the call against St. Louis. 14.5 remaining second period. 3-2 for the Blues.
It's quite a pass received by Jared Anderson-Dolan off the indirect in the neutral zone, and he tries to get around Broberg, and Broberg's able to knock the puck off of him, but good awareness by Anderson-Dolan to kind of spin around and get a backhand chance on that. And you're right, Paul. Morgan Barron coming in with a whole head of steam on here. Had to really slam on the brakes. He still made contact with Binnington, but it could have been a lot worse.
St. Louis will shuttle the puck out towards center ice. It's batted ahead by Luke Shen, and now they're going to blow it down right at center. Scheifele didn't want to touch it.
Then eventually, blow it down. Yeah, then eventually, as an official, you just kind of have to blow it down because it's not really great for the game to hang out and wait for that. But Winnipeg's done a pretty good job, I think, of settling in after St. Louis took that lead. Winnipeg spent some time in that offensive zone, which is what you want to see. It's a matter of getting a break or two to go your way there.
Scheifele will take the draw. Faxa was waived, so Walker comes in, and Walker will wins it. Back inside his own zone. St. Louis, as Killian Moore told you, did an excellent job of winning faceoffs in that first period. Winnipeg has to be better in that department. They need to start with a puck. Fowler through that neutral ice and across the line. On the far side, put on the brakes, lost the puck. Scheifele around to the near side for Luke Shen. Up along the boards for Iafallo. Ties up a stick, it goes all the way down. and there'll be an icing call against the Jets. Iafallo didn't like that. He argued with the linesman down in front of us, and the fans agreed with him.
Arguing that there's a pinch on the play. That would be Iafallo's case.
I would think the other side would be the linesman saying that you took away the defenseman's stick to try to touch that puck as he hacked it.
Yeah, and the Blues player ended up getting that inside position. That's why Iafallo had to grab that stick.
Back toward the line. Shot came in, stopped, rebound, and it's loose. And hanging on to it is Hellebuyck with that scramble in front. There was enough Jets there, and the only Blue really there is picking himself up off the ice, and that's Robert Thomas. And we'll get a timeout on the ice and do the same on your radio. 13:48 remaining in this second period. St. Louis 3, Winnipeg 2. You're listening to Play Now. Winnipeg Jets playoff hockey on the radio over the Jets. Power 97 at 680 CJOB.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs Bracket Challenge presented by Skip is back.
Oh, yeah, baby!
And now it's time to take your shot. Face off against family and friends. And see if you can predict this year's playoffs.
McDavid shoots and scores!
Can you pick the perfect bracket and claim the ultimate prize? A trip to a 2025-26 NHL event. Sign up today for a chance to win exclusive prizes at NHL.com/bracket.
For fun and reliability you can count on, your one-stop battery source is Canadian-owned Prairie Battery.
Prairie Battery is family-owned and operated, providing reliable and trusted battery power. When you want true power, come see Prairie Battery and the Prairie Battery team, or visit us at prairiebattery.ca.
When you need batteries for industrial, commercial, auto, recreational, marine, RVs, and more, it can only be prairiebattery.ca.
Care to sample our delectable filet mignon?
Oh, no, thank you. Actually, I'd love to, but my dentures have another idea.
Don't miss out on life's appetizing offerings because of ill-fitting dentures. Get set right with Shine Dental. Their expert team helps secure loose dentures while improving your oral health, making eating more pleasurable and ensuring you smile confidently. Available at Shine Dental's 1104 Pembina Highway location.
Would you like to try?
Yes, I would.
Book today and find your shine at shinedental.ca.
The official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. This is Play Now Winnipeg Jets Hockey.
Winnipeg Jets Hockey is brought to you by Shine Dental and Mr. Reuter. Not going to be long tonight. Paul Edmonds, Mitchell Clinton with you. 13:48 remaining in this second period. 3-2 St. Louis. Winnipeg did have a brief lead. St. Louis has led twice. And the Jets, to the left of their goaltender, will win the draw. Quickly out towards center ice. Tanev tried to move it ahead. Knocked down with a high stick by Parayko. Touched by another Blue. Can't do that. We're going to neutralize face-off. 13:40 remaining in the second period. This does not have the pace that the first did. And I'm not surprised by that, Mitchell.
No, exactly. You're full guns ablazing in the first on both sides. Just all the energy, the anticipation of getting to the Stanley Cup playoffs. And your game one of the entire Stanley Cup playoffs, really. First series to start. So you're going all over the place, and this game's kind of settled in a little bit.
Winnipeg will brush it inside the St. Louis end. Quickly right back out and off the stick of Toropchenko. Falls inside the Winnipeg end. On the retrieve, Stanley. Hardrimmer on the board, stick off the skate. Grabbed there by Nemestikov. Eluded a check, got it out towards center ice, but right on the stick there of Nathan Walker. The Australian will send it back inside the Winnipeg end. Grabbed there by Nemestikov. Carried out towards center ice, tried to advance it, popped off a shin pad, forward up is Luke Schenn. He'll send it all the way down, and there'll be an icing call against the Jets.
Yeah, Schenn looking for the indirect there off the wall, and I think Perfetti just missed it. So that'll lead to the icing. They are changing Morgan Barron's goal to Jared Anderson-Dolan. The assists to Morgan Barron and Luke Schenn. So I don't know if Anderson-Dolan got a secondary deflection on that. I will say at the time that it went in, they both kind of, you know how you both turn and fist pump at the same time? That's pretty much exactly what happened. Barron did lead the train past the bench, though.
A big one in the draw. Luke Schenn campers out of his own zone. Rink wide pass, nobody home. Stepping up. Fault. He'll drive that right back inside the Winnipeg end. Rolled around to the near side. Back toward the line. Broberg couldn't handle that. Almost overskated though by Niederreiter. And he will settle it down for Stanley. Moved ahead on the far side for Perfetti. Turned the blade of his stick and has it flutter down inside of that St. Louis end. And he'll head off on a Blues or on a line change. Blues out of their own zone on the far side. Ducking inside the zone. Kyrou, high slot, cuts trip to the puck and back the other way. Brandon Tanev with some speed. Tanev will throw it in from center ice, and he's going to go and get it. Tanev into where the corner of the near side now for Appleton. Appleton scared along the board. DeMello will hold it right back for Appleton. Shooting! And it's stopped by Binnington from a tight angle. He'll hang on for a whistle. So 12:24 remaining in the second period. 3-2 St. Louis. So the second goal for the Jets goes to Jared Anderson-Dolan. His first of the postseason and his first as a Winnipeg Jet. And then it would be Barron and Schenn with the assists.
Yeah, great time forward if you're Jared Anderson-Dolan. No secret what St. Louis is trying to do this game. After the first period, they had 32 hits. They're up to 38. Really trying to be physical, specifically, I think, on Winnipeg's defense, but also trying to make things as difficult as possible for Winnipeg's forwards, too, especially along the walls.
Winnipeg will hold the puck inside the zone. On the far side, Kyle Connor. Dropped it, got it, turned, fired, kicked away by Binnington. Into where the corner, scrambling there. Iafallo frees it up for Scheifele. High slot to the near side. DeMello moving right in, shooting! And it's stopped by Binnington. Sent back toward the line, held by DeMello again. Put into where the corner for Scheifele. Out to the side of the slot for Connor. Back toward the line, DeMello. Needed to the far side for Morrissey. Paddled over to the far side for Scheifele. Near side for Connor. Couldn't nail the pass cleanly. Connor now ducks into the corner. He'll shoot it toward the net off a stick. Ricochets far side, kept alive. Sent back into where the slot. Connor shooting on a pass from Morrissey. And it's stopped by Binnington. And then flipped out towards center ice by the Blues. Excellent shift the Winnipeg Jets. Moving the puck around. And again, they will shepherd the puck back inside that Blues end. Blues with the puck up along the boards. Off the stick of Buchnevich. And it rides out of play. And we'll get a stoppage with 11.5 remaining in this second period. 3-2 St. Louis.
Exactly the type of shift Winnipeg needed, and Connor trying to use that quick release to his advantage here. He takes this beautiful seam pass from Josh Morrissey in and around the high slot, and he's kind of back. His momentum is kind of taking him backward, so he corrals that puck and just tries to catch Jordan Binnington just a little bit unset and try to sneak it underneath that glove, kind of in that pocket, but over the pad and beneath the glove, and Binnington just able to squeeze it.
Faceoff just outside that Jets blue line. Won by Barron back inside his own zone. Sandberg, near side corner for his deep partner in Pionk. Up along the wing for Anderson-Dolan. Good corral it cleanly, and it's one-handed back inside the Winnipeg end by Sundqvist. To the near side again. Snapped with a backhand by Barron into where the corner. Anderson-Dolan goes after it, rolled around to the far side for David Gustafsson. Pitched against the boards. Bull Duke will come away with a puck, put it into where the middle for Oscar Sundqvist, and he will backhand it from center. And it lofts back inside that Winnipeg end into where the corner of the far side. Barron fighting for it there. He will fray it up for Sandberg, who sauntered in front of his own net, got out towards center ice, trying to move it ahead. Anderson-Dolan did. He pushed it inside the Blues end, but Broberg will get it back out and expel it through that neutral ice and inside the Winnipeg end. Sent around back in behind that Winnipeg net. Stopped there by Hellebuyck. Changing on the fly with a long change. We are halfway through this first game one and halfway through this second period. 10 minutes just over remaining in the second frame. St. Louis at center. Cross-ice pass, broken up and back the other way. Morrissey, he's bumped off the puck hard by Kyrou. Good body check in front of his own bench. Back the other way comes St. Louis to the near side. Kyrou will backhand it in. Morrissey came after him and laid a shoulder on him. To the near side, Broberg for Kyrou. Knocked away by Morrissey. In front of his own net there for Lowry. To the near side for Appleton. Appleton across the line. Into the high slot. Tanev tripped and fell. He was the intended target. Back the other way, Snuggerud. Across the line. Snuggerud moving in, shooting! And it's stopped by Hellebuyck with his glove, and he will hang on for a whistle. 9:47 remaining in this second period. The score, St. Louis 3, Winnipeg 2. Back after these, you're listening to Play Now. Winnipeg Jets playoff hockey on the radio home of the Jets. Power 97 and 680 CJOB. Lowry moving in, shoots, score!
Hey Jets fans, this is your captain, Adam Lowry, and we're ready for takeoff.
The Jets have been firing on all cylinders this season and are ready for takeoff. There's nothing bigger than the Winnipeg Whiteout, and you could be part of the action by placing a deposit on a 25-26 season ticket membership. Don't miss out. Secure your seats now by visiting winnipegjets.com/deposit. That's winnipegjets.com/deposit.
Boston Pizza is Canada's go-to place for playoffs. So this year, we're doing more than just hoping a Canadian team wins it all. We're manifesting it. We're planning the parade. We even got a bus. And we've got the sports bar dialed in, with ice-cold draft beer and an elite playoff menu. Like the guy in the movie said, kind of.
If we plan it, we will win.
So when it's game day, post up early at BP and cheer for the Holy Grail to come home.
Are you getting the most out of your backyard deck? Is it a safe sanctuary for you and your family? Or a muddled mess of spindles and splinters?
Hi, I'm Mal Duick, president of Windeck. Your deck's an extension of your home, so make it beautiful, functional, and make it safe. With Windeck's award-winning design team and low-maintenance products, we will give your backyard that wow factor while increasing your home's value. Windeck. Do it once. Do it right.
Hey, this is Mark Scheifele. Paul Edmonds and Mitchell Clinton are bringing it Winnipeg Jets hockey style on 680 CJOB.
Winnipeg Jets hockey is brought to you in part by St. Andrews Parts and Power, Wills Eli Ford, Mr. Reuter, and Windeck. 3-2 St. Louis, 9:47 remaining in the second period. Face off to the left of Connor Hellebuyck. Scheifele will take the draw against Robert Thomas, and Thomas will win it. Snapped right off the face-off Buchnevich. It hit a body in front, never got through to Hellebuyck. Rolled in toward the corner. Winnipeg will fashion that to their stick, and out of his own zone, Pionk up along the boards in a rink-wide pass from Scheifele off a stick and bounced back inside the Winnipeg end. Fans trying to help out here. Neil Pionk slithers out towards center ice. Moved it ahead efficiently for Scheifele across the line. High slot for Connor. Pass to Iafolo, too far for him. Handled around to the near side. Neighbors goes after it. Neighbors after the puck. Bounced it along the boards. Back in behind. Parenko was there. He's being bothered there by Iafolo. In to help out with Scheifele. Back toward the line. Connor for Scheifele into where the corner on the far side. He will get away from some traffic. Work his way into where the corner. Scheifele back on in front for Connor. He went in too long. Side of the net. A backhanded stop. Either by Binnington or Parenko. And then it's flushed all the way down the ice. Not enough for icing. Racing back is Sandberg to the near side. Pionk. He'll snap it back inside that Blues end. Out of his net. To play it there is Binnington. His outlet pass off a skate. Grabbed by Toropchenko. Flying through that neutral ice. Shoots it inside the Winnipeg end. Morrissey wins that battle. Sweeps it up along the boards for Niederreiter. Rink-wide pass now for DeMello. And he will drift it down inside that Blues end. Falk will scrape it off the back wall. Roll it around to the near side for Broberg. He moved it up along the boards. Hit a skate. Stays inside the zone. Niederreiter to the far side. Shooting. Hit a body in front. Might have been friendly fire there and hit Perfetti. And then it's alley-ooped out towards center ice by the Blues once again. DeMello in his own zone, up along the boards for Nemesnikov. He slides it inside the Blues end, goes after it. Perfetti took a hard body check there. Falk is after the puck. He nudged the puck around Perfetti. Perfetti stays on it though. Sweeps it back in behind the net for Niederreiter. Niederreiter back out in front for Perfetti, and a shot. He just slid it wide. He back toward the line. Held to the far side. Now to the near side here. Shen winding up, shoots with a slap shot. And that one wide, came off the back wall. Picked up by Faxa. Twisted off the boards and out towards center ice. Weak shot back from center by Stanley on top of Binnington. And he will make the save on that. Changing on the fly, happening for both teams. Expelled down inside that Winnipeg end by the Blues. Jets will start back on the reload. Here's Appleton. Skips across the line. Appleton back for the line. Shin moving in, shooting. It's off a stick and wide. It went over the net. Bounced into where the corner. Charging after it there is Lowry. He bumps with Falk. Appleton trying to get it back toward the line. Fan on that. Kyrou will get it. Out towards center ice it goes. Following up now is Broberg, and he slides it in from center ice. Hellebuyck will stop that. Outlet it at far side for Stanley. Up along the boards now for Appleton. Couldn't get it inside the zone. Back the other way is Braden Shen. He'll snap it inside the Winnipeg, and the Blues will complete a line change as well. Now Luke Shen to the near side, too far for everybody. Icing washed out, so Binnington comes out to play it. Slides it around to the far side. Jets changing on the fly now. Neighbors to the near side, nobody home. Back inside the Winnipeg end. Pionk far side for Sandberg. Up along the boards for Lowry. In toward the middle for Jared Anderson-Dolan. Slides wide on Letty. Cruises back in behind the net. Bumps with his man there. Tries to free up the puck. Gets a little bit of help from Gustafsson. Shovel back toward the line for Sandberg. Back for Gustafsson on the far side. Turned and fired. Blocked there by Joseph. And the Blues are back out of their own zone. Sundqvist will try to pop it ahead with a chop and a backhand. That was fanned on. He grabbed it, steered it back inside his own zone. Bolduc down to the near side. Off the body. Hits up in the air and loose. Winnipeg will try to shovel it ahead again with one hand. And Gustafsson, he got it inside the zone, but not for very long. Back to center ice, and Neil Pionk again will thrust it back in. Winnipeg will head off in a line change.
And you can feel Winnipeg trying to turn things here. They've stacked some chips in the offensive zone. Had a couple of good looks. Kyle Connor, Cole Perfetti among them, and the crowd's kind of back into it, using that Go Jets, Go chant, doing everything they can. Winnipeg trying to grab that momentum right now.
Fowler just about misplayed the puck, came back to Binnington. In tow there was Kyle Connor. Binnington made the play to the near side again. Here's Fowler, hops inside the Winnipeg end, puts on the break, tried to shovel it back toward the line, broken up. It got there though. Buchnevich on the pill for Parayko, shoots, and that just missed the blocker of Hellebuyck. Back in behind the net, out in front, as Robert Thomas was trying to get it back for Buchnevich. His stick was lifted. Winnipeg back out towards center ice. Scheifele chip and chase down inside the Blues end. He got buried into where the corner, and a hard hit there by Parayko. Back the other way is Thomas. He'll float it down inside that Winnipeg end. Goes back in behind the net. Scooped up there by Stanley. Hard off the glass out towards center ice. Kyle Connor is taking off the puck back the other way. Is Volk. Volk will backhand it into where the corner of the Jets end. Braden Shen goes after it. Pushes one of the Jets against the boards. It came free. Winnipeg will try to poke it by the defenseman. They do. Race for the puck in center ice. Cole Perfetti had his stick lifted. Kyle Connor had his stick lifted. Back the other way on the far side. Kyrou. He has scored tonight. And he'll softly send it back in behind the Winnipeg net. Jets will try to rim it around to get it out. It came off a body right to Kyle Connor. He's been out there for an eon trying to get off with this long change. And he'll flip it down inside of that Blues end. It was gloved ahead to the advantage of the Jets by Vladislav Nemesnikov, and they will blow that down. 4:32 remaining in this second period. Timeout of the ice. We'll do the same on your radio. The score, St. Louis 3, Winnipeg 2. You're listening to Play Now. Winnipeg Jets playoff hockey on the radio home of the Jets. Power 97 and 680 CJOB.
Grab your jersey. Grab your generic lager. Impressively standard beer for impressively intense moments. Brewed in Winnipeg by Little Brown Jug. Generic. The most domestic choice.
When you bet with Play Now Sports, goals become... Every game will feel like the big game. Bet local with Play Now Sports, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. 18 plus, enjoy responsibly.
He shoots. He scores.
Jacuzzi Manitoba wants you to win back your purchase in the Jacuzzi Win Your Wellness Contest. Until April 30th, purchase any new jacuzzi hot tub, swim spa, cold plunge tub, infrared sauna, or massage chair, and if the boys in white are league champs after all 4 rounds of the playoffs, you will win back the purchase price of your wellness product. Contest limited to the first 50 Jacuzzi Wellness products purchased in April. For full Jacuzzi Win Your Wellness Contest rules, visit Jacuzzi Manitoba in Winnipeg or Brandon.
Innovation. Best in class. A vehicle that handles any curve in the road, navigates the bend with ease, and leads on the straightaway. Men's Health Clinic Manitoba offers evidence-based curvature treatments, new non-invasive and virtually painless male dysfunction treatments, minimally invasive prostate treatments, men's aesthetics and genital refinement surgery, no scalpel vasectomies, and more. It feels good to drive with confidence, authority, and maximum satisfaction.
Trust the experts at the only specialist-run men's clinic. Visit mhclinic.ca.
This is your front row seat to all the action for Winnipeg Jets hockey on 680 CJ.
You can do it with decorations, costumes, or any other way. You cheer on the Jets at WinnipegJets.com/WhiteoutMania for a chance to win tickets or to be featured in team content. Set down inside the Winnipeg end. Ice will be the call against the Blues.
We talked about how it kind of feels that Winnipeg's turning the momentum a little bit. Shot attempts going into that last timeout, 22 to Winnipeg in the second period. So now the actual physical shots that actually got through are 9-5 in favor of Winnipeg. So St. Louis doing their thing in terms of blocking shots, trying to make sure that Winnipeg doesn't have those clean lanes, but Winnipeg is still generating. I do like the fact that Winnipeg is finding the middle ice a little bit.
And they win the draw. DeMello far side for Morrissey into the corner for Scheifele. Back for Morrissey off the stick and out towards center ice. Captured again by Scheifele. Far side, Iafallo crossed the line, dropped it for Connor. Chipped it toward the net, that went wide. Gathered up by Scheifele, rimmed around to the far side. Sharking after it is Connor, rolled off the boards. Got double teamed. Sundqvist with it, snapped it around the boards. Off the stick, it goes all the way down. Foot race to the puck. And it's going to be won by DeMello. Blues thought that Matthew Joseph was going to win that. It's an icing call against St. Louis. And the Jets may have gotten a slight benefit on the call on that one.
Yeah, DeMello, I think, with the extension of his stick, maybe got to that dot first, but perhaps it was Joseph that might have had the inside track to actually get to the puck first. So either way, a tight call, and Winnipeg will take the benefit of it and go up against a line that's been defending for the last little bit.
Ryan Suter snapped it off the boards. Captured there by Joseph. Rink wide on the far side. Sprinting to it was Sundqvist. He chopped at it against Nemestikov, forced it back inside the Winnipeg end. Jets will go after it. Somebody's lost a stick. Cole Perfetti curling back in behind his own net is Nemestikov. Backhands it up along the board. Stopped by Neighbors in the slot. Back toward the line. Far side. Parayko moving in. Shoot! And it's blocked by Nemestikov. He dropped down and atoned for the error of the giveaway. Now it's rescued back in behind their own net by Neil Pionk. Up along the boards, but he can't get it out. Two Blues were in on him. To the near side corner, Butch Davis. Thomas is there as well. Squirts back in behind the net. And curling back in behind his own goal is Morrissey. And he'll shepherd the puck up along the boards on the far side for Niederreiter. Winnipeg wants a change. Niederreiter stick handling with the puck. Now he turned it over. Back the other way. Here come the Blues. Across the line, Thomas. Near side for Fowler. Shoots. And it's off a stick of Neil Pionk. Challenging and closing the distance. And up into the mesh and it goes. And out of play. 2:44 remaining in the second period. 3-2 St. Louis.
And I think Niederreiter knew Winnipeg was going for a change, so he's just trying to hang on to possession and let Winnipeg reload. And he wanted to, I think, play it back to DeMello, who is one of the defensemen back, but he had just kind of gotten onto the ice, so he was still establishing his own position, which is actually on the other side of the ice. So Winnipeg just kind of got a little bit discombobulated there. St. Louis jumps on it with a 3-on-2.
Scramble face-off. Lowry kicks it into the corner to the right of his goal. Sent around by DeMello. Now for Tanev out towards center ice. Speeding inside that St. Louis Blues end was Appleton. He gets embroiled in a battle there with Broberg. It's tapped back in behind the net, rolled around to the near side, and Falk will flush it all the way down over everybody's head, but not enough for icing. Back inside his own zone. Sandberg for Tanev onto the far side. Tanev jammed it along the wall. Arcs off the boards to the near side for DeMello. Back for Tanev. Up the middle of the ice. Crossed over the line. Far side for Lowry. Shoot! Put it wide. Feed back toward the line. Kept alive by DeMello. Tapped it into the corner. Lowry overskated it. Again, flipped by Toropchenko out towards center ice. Sandberg didn't know where it was. It's taken away. Here's Kyrou busting in. Shoot! And it's stopped by Hellebuyck. Jordan Kyrou in a bouncing puck. And you're standing still as a defenseman in the case of Dylan Sandberg. He knocked it free, and he was off to the races for the Jets' blue line in on a breakaway and thwarted there nicely by Connor Hellebuyck.
That's a big save for Connor Hellebuyck, and he's got a couple now ever since St. Louis made it 3-2. There was a Snuggerud chance on the far side on a rush play, and now this one where, you're right, Dylan Sandberg a little bit flat-footed because he's trying to play center field, if you will, trying to control that flip and dump out by St. Louis. And when you can't find it in your skates, you're right, it's just a terrible feeling as a defenseman. And Jordan Kyrou knew exactly where that puck was, but Connor Hellebuyck stands tall for his team there.
Face off to the left of Hellebuyck. Butch Davis will take the draw against Scheifele, who has to get a stick down first, and Scheifele wins it cleanly back toward the side of his goal. Winnipeg out towards center ice. Lead pass from Morrissey now for Scheifele across the line. He dropped it for Iafallo, kicked it from his skate to his stick. He will rumble into the corner. Got tripped up, no call, back for the line. Neil Pionk wristed toward the net, hit a body. Bouncing side of the slot there. Grabbed by Winnipeg. Kyle Connor twisting and turning. Stops and starts. Connor at the hash mark. Still turning around. Cut back loop. Flipped it into the middle. Swept away by the Blues, but carried at the point. Held there nicely by Neil Pionk. Back into the corner for Connor, twisting and turning. He lost the puck, rolled off the end of the stick. And chaperoning the puck out towards center ice is Buchnevich. He'll get it in deep. And a race to the bench for a line change. 1:10 remaining in the second period. 3-2 for St. Louis. Shot inside that St. Louis end. Binnington came out to play. After goes Kyle Connor. Dug off the wall to the near side here. Scheifele goes after. Perfetti's there as well. Scheifele to the near side. Trying to get it back toward the line. Intercepted by Faxa. And plungered back out towards center ice. Stanley. Rink wide to the near side to his D partner in Shen. Back for Stanley. Long lead pass on the far side. Nemestikov just redirects it down inside that Blues end. 40 seconds to go. Perfetti came away with the puck. Tried to get it into where the slot. Chopping at it. Niederreiter never got it through some skates to the near side. Carried up by Korchenko. Turned it over. Sent back inside the zone. Winnipeg will stay onside. Nudged into where the corner after it goes. Nemestikov leaves it for Niederreiter. Rolled around to the far side again for Stanley. D to D for Shen. Shen waits. Shen wrist shot through traffic. Stop. Rebound. They're banging away at it. And it's chopped into where the corner. Niederreiter got tripped up. It's touched by a blue and Toropchenko. And with 14 seconds remaining in the second period, there'll be a penalty to St. Louis for tripping.
And obviously, it goes without saying, a big opportunity for Winnipeg. And it just comes off of hard work.
Louis minor penalty, tripping.
Because Winnipeg wins this puck back to allow themselves to continue with the opportunity. Luke Shen does something smart here. I think he initially wanted to get this puck to the net a little bit quicker, but he, instead of running the risk of getting it blocked, he kind of stops, pauses, takes one step to his right. That lane is there, and he's able to get that puck through all the bodies. And then Winnipeg with a couple of whacks at it. But when the puck comes free, Vlad Nemestikov goes to go get it, gets tripped up by Leddy. So 15.2 seconds left in this period. We'll see if Winnipeg can tie it there. If not, the power play will continue into the third.
So Leddy for tripping. Jets on the Prairie Battery power play. Your one-stop battery source is Winnipeg-born and Canadian-owned prairiebattery.ca. And the Blues will win the draw, and they fire it off the boards and all the way down the ice. 10 seconds to go. Maybe time for one last rush here before the expiration of 40 minutes. Morrissey, long slap shot inside the zone, gloved down by Binnington, left to the side of his net. Horn sounds to end 2 periods of play tonight, and the Blues in front 3-2 after 40.
Yeah, St. Louis really bearing down in that face-off dot, especially on those Winnipeg offensive zone draws, and able to get a big clear there to really limit what Winnipeg was able to generate in those last 15 seconds. But besides St. Louis taking the lead early in the second period, I thought Winnipeg likely had the better of the two chances between the two teams in that second period. A great look for Kyle Connor, a great look for Cole Perfetti. Jordan Binnington has the answer on the first one. The second one, Perfetti just puts wide. But Winnipeg will have, kind of similar to St. Louis, an opportunity to start on the power play going into the second period and a chance to get a big goal.
Well, let's have a look at the stat summary through 40 minutes and get you all caught up before we send it over to Kelly Moore and Dwayne Gilloychuk for our second intermission report. Robert Thomas opened up the scoring on the power play at 9:31. His first of the postseason from Fowler and Buchnevich, 1-0 St. Louis. Winnipeg then scored 2 goals in 1 minute and 24 seconds. Scheifele on the power play, his first, from Connor and Morrissey at 13:38. And then they changed it from Morgan Barron to Jared Anderson-Dolan. They were both involved in front of the net off a point shot from Luke Shen. For Anderson-Dolan, his first of the postseason, his first as a Winnipeg Jet. Barron and Shen collect the assists at 15:02, 2-1 Winnipeg. But before the period was out in the first, 18:10, Oscar Sundqvist will score a goal. Bolduc and Falk collect the assists. Tied at 2, the two teams would take that score to the respective dressing rooms after 1. Only 1 goal to speak of, and it came on the power play again in the second period for the St. Louis Blues. 1:13 in, Jordan Kyrou, who led his Blues team with 36 goals during the regular season, scores in the postseason from Falk and Neighbors, and it's 3-2 St. Louis at that point, and that's where we sit currently at the end of 40 minutes. Power play opportunities. St. Louis is 2 for 2 with the man advantage tonight. The Jets are 1 for 2. They're on their third. 1 minute and 45 carryover from the end of the second to begin the third on that tripping call to Nick Leddy. Shots on goal. Winnipeg out shooting St. Louis in the second, 11-6, and the 2 period totals now belong to the Jets, 17-15 over the Blues. As mentioned, second intermission report is coming up next with Kelly Moore and Dwayne Gilroy-Chuck. The score after 2. St. Louis 3, Winnipeg 2. You're listening to Play Now. Winnipeg Jets playoff hockey on the radio home of the Jets, Power 97 and 680 CJOB.
It's finally here. The last show with David Cooper.
I am David Cooper with the stuff that you're thinking about but are too afraid to ask. We're talking relationships, climate anxiety, that weird thing you saw on TikTok last night, all of it. No filters, just real talk about real life. So grab your emotional support water bottle and tune in.
The last show.
Weeknights at midnight on 680 CJOB.
The job gets done at St. Andrews Parts and Power. The savings on Coyote subcompact tractors are big, big, big. Brad has stock of Coyote CS Series 2220 and CS 2520 tractors. Plus, get 2.99% for 72 months, a free loader, and $1,000 off until April 30th. Get your Coyote subcompact tractor at St. Andrews Parts and Power, where you'll say, "That guy helped me."
And I can help you too at St. Andrews Parts and Power.
Do you need more laughter in your life? Get ready for a wild time at the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, July 18th through 20th at Assiniboine Park. Get ready for a weekend packed with laughs from John Mulaney.
Wouldn't have happened on my watch.
Martin Short, Bert Kreischer, Theo Vaughn, Whitney Cummings, Jeremy Piven, Trailer Park Boys,
Decent,
Ms. Pat, Dusty Slay, and Laura Peak. Tickets on sale now at GreatOutdoorsComedyFestival.com.
This is your front row seat to all the action for Winnipeg Jets hockey on 680 CJOB.
3-2, the St. Louis Blues leading it. The only goal of that second period scored by Jordan Kyrou to snap a 2-2 tie. Hey, congratulations to Tammy Valaket, who joins Jason Kurdish and Brenda Wojcichin, correctly predicting Mark Scheifele would score the first goal of the game tonight for the Winnipeg Jets. So Jason and Brenda, you already knew this, but Tammy, you've also won a pair of single night tickets to the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival coming up July 18th through 20th at Assiniboine Park. I'm Kelly Moore, along with the coach, Dwayne Gilroy-Chuck. And as Paul Edmonds and Mitchell Clinton mentioned during their play-by-play of that second period, no way it was performed at the same pace that we saw in the first.
No, that, it was a different period. Like, they had the power play to start. St. Louis had the power play to start, kind of settled in. It was back and forth, a lot of tipses, getting pucks in deep. Then it opened up for a little while, but then the Scheifele line had a real extended zone offensive shift against the Thomas line. And there was, kind of changed the momentum around, but it just seemed that Winnipeg just still can't get inside. They can't get inside the St. Louis's zone for an extended amount.
The perfect screen, and that would put the Blues up by 1, and then Winnipeg would start to build up some momentum. They would have one Ameren Missouri power play early on in that second period, only got one shot on goal, but then they started to generate a little bit more even strength opportunities.
Face off back in their own end, won by the Blues. Fowler couldn't clear it. Scheifele holds it in. Wide open far side. Connor gets a grip, shoots it. Binnington square to the shot, makes the save. Jets win the draw. The door is open. Parayko's out. Morrissey with a shot. It's wide. Parayko skating in, puts that pressure on to Pionk. The Jets get it over to Appleton. Now to Sandberg. Slap shot on. Binnington the save. Lowry might have had the high deflection. Scheifele again to Morrissey to Kyle Connor. Shooting it, and Binnington gets over with a glove. He knocked it down.
Yeah, that big save on Kyle Connor's biggest one in that period for Jordan Binnington, who saw a total of 10 shots from the Winnipeg Jets, and 9 of those shots came at even strength. And they will have 1 minute and 44 seconds of power play time, and Winnipeg will once they open up the third period. But don't discount the Blues, because although they only had 6 shots on goal, and if you go over to natural stat trick, they didn't have a whole lot of scoring chances, at least natural stat trick is labeled enabling. But for the Blues, they did generate a couple of big-time opportunities, and Hellebuyck came up with the saves.
They get it off of Snuggerud. Dubicnevich's backhand pass block. Oh, the puck found Snuggerud. He took a shot with it, and Winnipeg blocked it. And the puck comes into Kyrou to the forehand. To Snuggerud shooting, and Hellebuyck with a glove save. Jets will bring it in. Tanev to Lowry. Shoots it wide of the net and angles to DeMello. He keeps it in. Broberg and Lowry going into the corner. It's knocked loose. Faksa able to lift it high enough to get it out. Sandberg is there and he lost it. Breaking in. Kyrou. Partial break. Shooting in. Hellebuyck with the save. Kyrou tried to tuck it in on the forehand. That's a huge save from Connor Hellebuyck.
Yeah, and you can see Jordan Kyrou's frustration after that missed opportunity to put the Blues up by 2. The Blues will have a big start to that third period when they try and kill off Winnipeg's third power play of the game. Shots in favor of the Jets, 17-15. Face-offs in favor of the Blues. The Blues also 2 for 2 on the Ameren, Missouri power play report, and 48 hits so far through 2 periods of hockey. We will take a break. We'll come back and we'll hear part 2 of the conversation that Tom Stillman had with Chris Kerber. 3-2 Blues lead the Jets. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
What does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. At Edward Jones, our dedicated financial advisors are the people you can count on for financial strategies that help support a life you love. Because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. Learn more about our comprehensive approach to planning at edwardjones.com/findyourrich. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's time to raise a cup. The On the Run Blues Souvenir Cup, available at Blues home games. Bring your Blues Souvenir Cup to any St. Louis area On the Run location and score 65-cent Pepsi and fountain drink refills all season long. We'll see you at the game and at On the Run. What you need, when you need it.
Did you know that termites cause an estimated $5 billion of damage to U.S. homes annually? At Rottler, we've set up a non-invasive termite protection system that can detect the presence of termites before they damage your home. From a state-of-the-art term alert protection system to a comprehensive termite damage warranty, Rottler offers a complete defense system against termites and other common household pests.
Call today for your free inspection. At Rottler, we know St. Louis pests because we know St. Louis best.
Take your fandom to the next level. Blue season tickets for the 25-26 season are on sale now. Benefits include savings off the gate price, the best seat locations, plus concessions and retail discounts. You'll also get access to popular exclusive player events and True Blue benefits, an exclusive season ticket holder rewards program. Secure your seats today or explore ticket options by calling 314-622-BLUE or visiting stlouisblues.com.
Second intermission report. Alex Ferrario with you as the Blues lead the Jets 3-2 in Game 1 of Round 1 out in Winnipeg. We heard a little from Tom Stillman, Blues chairman, in the first intermission. Let's hear part 2 of Chris Kerber's conversation.
How have you learned the necessary patience as a leader of a sports franchise?
That's an interesting question because I don't think any friends or family members would describe me as an inherently patient person. It'd be quite the opposite. But, you quickly realize that in some things you just have to have patience, and in this case, going even back to our transaction in 2012, which really started moving in 2010, so a 2-year process. But you just realize there's really no good choice other than patience. You can get impatient and say, I know, we got to do this. It's only going to hurt you. And so even if it doesn't come naturally. There are times when you just got to take a longer view and make sure you're making the moves now that put us in position later.
We talk a lot about what's going on the ice. How proud of you what you've seen from the business side over the years, too, and where this franchise is right now?
I've just made tremendous progress. If you look at ticket revenue numbers, suites and all, especially sponsorship, what they've done over the last several years to advance our revenue there has been tremendous. We looking ahead, we just face a continued challenge because, the cap is going to go up dramatically now. It's been kind of released from the COVID area, restrictions. And so there's no rest for the weary on the business side. We're going to have to find additional sources of revenue, so that we can keep up. We're kind of chained to the bumper of the Torontos and New York Rangers who can push that cap up pretty high, so we've got to keep up.
When you look at all the young kids wearing Blues shirts and jerseys walking around, and just the buzz, the popularity, the impact of that Blue Note Cup for all the youth hockey, what we've seen with the Blue Note Cup, the Wickenheiser Cup, and things like that, is there a greater sense of just community pride for you and just the overall growth of this game in the 12 years that you've been watching it from the chairmanship of this organization?
Yeah, what our folks have done, led by, primarily Randy Gersh, and obviously with Chris Zimmerman and Steve Chapman pushing it, it is just tremendous. We came in with a commitment to, continue building youth hockey in St. Louis, but they've really taken it to another level. The Blue Note Cup, I think was Chappie's idea, has been tremendous. And now we're seeing great growth in girls hockey, which is really, really fun to see. So, yeah, that's been gratifying to see. And I have to be honest, it helps grow the franchise. It brings more fans. It brings more people into the boat. And, and then that circles around. We can support more youth hockey. And so, it's a really good development.
And if the fans ever wonder if the boat's big enough, there's always room on the boat, and if not, we'll find a bigger boat to bring more fans on, right?
Bigger boat, because, it's just, we have to get the idea across to people that as great as the game is on television, it's a whole different deal in person. Especially the game itself, how much faster it is, how much more you're seeing because you're seeing behind the play and in front of the play. And also, the atmosphere in the building. And I don't mean just the playoffs. Any regular season game of the year, it's a really great thing to be part of. The more we can get that idea across, the more people will bring into the boat in the form of the arena itself.
Again, that's Tom Stillman, Blues chairman, with Chris Kerber. We'll take our final break. We'll come back and start the third. 3-2 Blues lead. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Feel the excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on Sirius XM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Inter! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Rafinha!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious history.
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick.
Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Cheveldayoff. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play.
Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favourite team.
Seguin lost it to Scheifele. Scheifele with Kyrou on one. Scheifele scores!
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
Tonight with our second intermission report. Alex Ferrario with you as the third period is about to get started with Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale. Blues on top 3-2. The third goal scored by the Blues, Jordan Kyrou on the power play. The Blues 2 for 2 so far in this game, and they'll have to deal with the third power play of this one for the Winnipeg Jets. 1 minute and 44 seconds of it once we open up the third period. Later on tonight, Enterprise driver on the league, proud hometown partner of your St. Louis Blues. The Stars open up the series against the Avalanche, hosting them. Then tomorrow, the Hurricanes and Devils, Senators and Maple Leafs, and the Wild and Golden Knights. But we head to the third. Back to Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale.
All right, Alex, thank you very much. They make the Stanley Cup Playoffs experience even more memorable with a suite or a premium seat. Whether you're looking to bring your friends, your family, your coworkers to see the Blues in action as the playoffs return home next week, a suite's the best way to elevate that experience. Head to stlouisblues.com/suites for more information. Joe, if there's one thing, and you mentioned it earlier, you really want to do it, that's keep this thing 5-on-5. This is a critical penalty kill, minute 45 in, and the Blues proved that with their own power play last period.
You know, exactly. I think the Blues created a lot of momentum on their most recent kill, and they have the opportunity to do just that, to start this period, to really set the tone for the third. It's a Jets team that is at its best when they're playing with the lead. They never lost a game in regulation after being ahead after 2 periods. They've only won 2 games, Curbs, in the regular season after trailing through 2 periods. So a great team when they stick with the lead. Not the best team necessarily when chasing the game. So a big kill, no doubt about it, coming right here.
Off a face-off win, Ryan Suter. 134th playoff game. Cleared it out. Kyle Connor's going to bring it in. Blues on the Rottler Pest Solutions penalty kill. Tough bounce off the far wall. Jets go in offside. Back-to-back conference championships last 2 years with the Dallas Stars for Ryan Suter. Signs with the St. Louis Blues. He's got the most experience of any player in these Stanley Cup playoffs without a Stanley Cup to his name.
Yeah, he got welcomed early on in this one. He took a hit. Third shift of the game from Adam Lowry right behind his own net, and boy, that'll wake you up.
The 5th St. Louis Blue to play in a playoff game at the age of 40 or older. Pretty amazing. Puck brought in on the near side. Perfetti down the left wing. Winnipeg gets set up for the first time on the power play. They go to Iafallo, trying to tie the game. They're down 3-2. Early moments. First minute of the third period. Morrissey to the near wing. Right-handed shooting. Scheifele to Perfetti. Far wing to Connor. What a save, Binnington. The puck under his pad, and he'll cover it up. Jordan Binnington with a groin ripper of a stretch that kept a one-timer from Kyle Connor out of the net.
Wow, these are the saves that win you series. These are the saves you look back after the 5, 6, 7 games, whatever it is, and you're like, wow. It's moments like that that could have turned this game 1 over. This could have been the tying goal just over a minute into this third period. And Jordan Binnington has doing what he has been doing so well his entire career, which has come up with those big-time saves. This Perfetti pass goes right under the blade of Ryan Suter, right to the backdoor Kyle Connor. It's a stretch from right to left. He clips it with the glove and keeps it out. What a save.
Good battling clear off the far wall by Philip Broberg, who, despite getting mauled by Iafallo, flicked that thing all the way down the ice. Minute 15 gone. Here in the first period, 27 seconds to go. It's Nick Leddy in the penalty box. He was whistled for tripping. Blues play it to the far point. Morrissey holds the line. They set it up to Connor on the far wing. Comes off the wall with it. Now to Morrissey straight away. Back to Connor on the right side to the goal line for Iafallo. It comes in front. They kick it at the side of the net. Iafallo gets it back in front. Backdoor Perfetti alone. They couldn't get the deflection. If it hits his stick, it goes in. And the puck over to Kyle Connor again. Down, shoots it. Binnington saves it, holds on. No rebound for Iafallo camping out. And we'll go back to even strength, and that's a big kill for the Blues.
It is. When the first 40 seconds, there were 2 face-off wins that didn't even allow Winnipeg to get set up. They eventually do get set up, but I tell you what, you don't need a lot of time for them to get set up, as they almost had 2 backdoor goals, one from Connor, which we were just commenting on. That last one from Perfetti. Curbs, that was a Kyle Connor pass right to the back door. They just hopped right over Perfetti's backhand, or else that is the 3rd goal of the game. So a couple close calls there for St. Louis.
Jets win the puck back after a good controlled win by the Blues. They've got a battle now on the near wing. Lowry checks into Parayko, and it's sent up to the near line. The puck to Sandberg. Into the middle. Appleton shoots it. And off a Kyrou deflection, it's over the net and out of play. And we have seen a couple of times in this game where the Blues have cleanly won the faceoff. They have been winning the faceoff battle, but the Jets have been able to get the puck back.
Well, it's a shame, too, because the Blues on the faceoff dot have been just absolutely exceptional. I mean, Radek Faksa, he's 7-2 right now. Robert Thomas was 10-2 after 2 periods.
60% on through 2 periods on the draw, Joe.
It's incredible. I mean, like I said, they're winning so much puck possession here. It's almost like that second guy isn't doing enough with it, though.
And as soon as we talked about it, the Jets win that faceoff. Right to the far point, Pionk. On the wing for Tanev. It hit his stick. He lost it. Braden Shen tries to clear and couldn't. Tanev held it in. Lowry getting checked into there by Suter. Those two had a great collision earlier in the game, and the puck comes back to the near wing. Letty just sidestep. Appleton coming in for the check. It's cleared out to the neutral zone. Neighbors will get to it. Sling it ahead. Kyrou in. Shooting, and it goes wide. He then sidesteps a hit from Tanev, but the battle by Kyrou draws a hook from Sandberg, and a huge power play for the Blues gives them a chance at a 2-goal lead.
Well, it was a breakaway by Kyrou in the second. His wheels are going tonight. And then he just jumps the route right here as Jake Neighbors is going to find him there. He just gets on the other side of Sandberg. Sandberg does get his stick right underneath the blade, absolutely. Creeps up on that lower hand. But it's the exit by Suter. It's the heads-up play by Jake Neighbors at the red line to find 25 just blazing up the ice. And, boy, Curbs, he's a streaky kid. He got that goal in that second period. He has been nothing but wheels here in Jordan Kyrou.
Now the Blues get the puck on the power play, brought to you by Ameren, Missouri. They're 2 for 3, and they get a chance to increase the lead from 3-2. Thomas off the far wall, checked into. Great work by Snuggerud to get it, but then it fell off his stick as he fanned. Bolduc chopping at it to hold it in, but Morgan Barron's going to bring it out. They took the goal away from Morgan Barron from the first period. They gave it to Anderson Dolan. Barron and Shen the assist for Winnipeg. That was on their second goal. Blues are on the power play. Thomas with a power play goal sends it in. Bolduc's rink-wide pass bounces to Snuggerud. He smokes it into the corner to the far side. It goes. Bolduc, good check in on Iafallo. Pionk's going to get it to the line. What a play. Buchnevich holds it in. Thomas to Buchnevich. And a shot blocked off of Stanley, and it hurt him. Thomas straight away. Fowler on the power play. Back over to Robert Thomas. In the far circle, dangles through to Buchnevich. Back door to Snuggerud, and the pass missed him. Down to Fowler. Again to Buchnevich. To Fowler straight away. Far circle to Thomas. Thomas to Bolduc, and he couldn't get the puck controlled to shoot it. Jets will get the clear. 40 seconds to go in the St. Louis power play.
Here. Bolduc.
Bolduc chops down Iafallo.
This is a bad penalty.
Going to the bench on a line change.
This is a bad penalty here. Yeah, all members are clearing to get to the end of the ice, get to the end of the bench. Iafallo, he may be bleeding too. He may be a high stick, Curbs. Look out here. This could be a double minor for a high stick. Yeah, they're checking for blood. He's got a towel wrapped around. It was behind the play. I didn't see it. Braden Shen's arguing. Adam Lowry's right there. It was definitely an altercation. Bolduc hit Iafallo earlier in that sequence from a little bit from the side behind. No call.
St. Louis penalty 76. Minor penalty cross-checking.
Cross-checking. Okay, they were checking for blood. I'm not sure why. Maybe one of the referees thought it was a high stick. But Zachary Bolduc, then they're going back to the bench.
Did he?
Boy, I don't know.
To see that again.
I'll have to see a replay of. They're going back to the bench. Here it is right here. Bolduc. Yeah, he gives a little cross check right to the rib cage of Iafallo. It's relatively violent enough to put him in the box, and he knows it too. This is where the emotions of the playoffs, you have to be locked in. You got to take it to the edge, but you can't cross it. And right there, it's a nothing play as all the members of the both benches are changing, and Bolduc's emotions get the best of him right there and gives a cross check right to Iafallo's rib cage there. So what was a 5-on-4 for St. Louis, who has had an incredible power play in this game, a moment to put yourself up by 2. Now you got 38 seconds of 4-on-4 hockey before you go back on the kill.
Yeah, the chance instead of making it 4-on-2, you now have to make sure you don't let it get tied 3-3. 4-on-4 hockey, and the Blues had 6 goals this way in the regular season. Kyrou down low, wrap around. That was denied. He keeps the puck, passes to the near side, angled to Broberg, and it ended up out of the zone.
Yeah, keep an eye on number 25. He has got some wheels right now. Look at him. Here goes again.
He brings it in over the line on the near wing. Fires, and a save by Hellebuyck. The rebound over to Falk. 6 4-on-4 goals in the regular season for the Blues was the most of any team in the NHL.
And here comes the power play now for the Winnipeg Jets. They're going to have a minute 22 power play time. Here comes the Kyle Connor and Scheifele group.
Well, the Winnipeg Jets 1 for 3 on the power play. They get their second power play of this period now. Second chance to tie the game. Connor's going to bring it in over the line. Parayko stands him up. Toropchenko goes to Suter, and Suter chucks it out.
Yeah, you can tell Kyle Connor, he's getting a little frustrated here. He's had a couple opportunities to score in this game. The best chance come in the power play to start this period. He tries to take it all alone himself, runs into 2 Blues bodies, and an easy clear here for St. Louis.
Rottler Pest Solutions penalty kill number 4. Scheifele to Perfetti. Coming back to Scheifele. Suter over to cut it off, but he couldn't clear it. Perfetti pinched along the wall. It's going back into the corner, and Scheifele's there. Parayko quickly closes him down. Iafallo frees it up. Left point pass to Morrissey. Back to Iafallo on the far wing. Down along the wing to Morrissey. Blues killing with Parayko and Suter defensively. Fox and Toropchenko the forwards. Jets to the blue line with the puck. Morrissey with his team down 3-2. Passes, deflection, a high one. Same way they scored earlier. And it went high. This time Scheifele recovers. Now to Morrissey. Going back to Connor. Into the circle looking for his screen. They center miss their man. It's off Toropchenko. Blues can't clear. Morrissey again. Far wing for Connor. In the Blues zone. Blues killing. A shot from Kyle Connor wide of the goal. And it comes out of the zone. Bolduc's out of the box. And it's 2 big penalty kills for the Blues here in this third period.
Yes, it was. They're looking for that seam play curves. Kyle Connor, he's the quarterback on that far side. They're looking for Perfetti and Scheifele on the middle or the back door. Nothing available. Blues had great bodies and sticks through the 2 kills here early in this period.
Puck goes down into the corner. Falk onto it. Plays it over to the far wing. Sends it down into the corner now, and Broberg is after it. Gets it over to Justin Falk, and Falk will clear it out 5-on-5. They go up to Walker. Jets get a stick on it. It's into the corner, and Joseph drills Pionk into the wall. And the Blues are onto the puck with Sundqvist going in heavy. 13-11 to go. We're in the third period. This is game 1 of a best-of-7 series between the Blues and Winnipeg Jets. 3-2 the score. Blues leading. The go-ahead goal by Kyrou came early in the second period on a power play. Jets battle for the loose puck back in their own end, and they get it around to Appleton. As he goes to clear, it's saucered off a stick, deflected from Walker down into the Blues' head. Falk and Niederreiter go into the corner. He'll battle it away there. Falk digs in, falls down to a knee. Niederreiter gets the puck loose as it comes to Logan Stanley. He fans on it, and Joseph along the wall to get there. It's the red line. Waited too long to dump it in. So the Blues have to tag up to keep play fluid, and they do. Jets will come the other way. Joseph to the bench. Neighbors is on. They get around him on the far wing. But Neighbors slowed down tentative enough to get the offside whistle. 12:23 to go in the third period. 3-2 Blues. We'll bring you back to Canada Life Center here in Winnipeg in a moment. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
What's up, Blues fans? Enjoying the game should be easy, so don't overthink it. What to wear? Done. Just toss on your Lucky Blues jersey. Don't know what to serve your friends? Easy. Pick up some pizza from your go-to place and grab some Bud Light to stock your fridge. See? It's that easy. Just like Bud Light, which is always brewed with 4 simple ingredients for a clean, crisp taste. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Enjoy responsibly, 21 or older. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing, 645-2000.
88,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 645-2000.
As the official partner of the St. Louis Blues, Enterprise is ready to go the extra mile. We're dedicated to the most dedicated fans in the game. And with us on your team, you can move forward with confidence knowing we've got your back. We're always available with mobility solutions, whether you need a rental, replacement, truck, or even tailored business strategies. At Enterprise, your goal is our goal, and we're ready with the assist.
At Bommarito, we have created the easiest way for you to sell your car. Just go to Bommarito.com, click on the Sell Trade tab, answer a few questions, and we will give you a real purchase offer. When you're ready to sell, go to Bommarito.com for Price Buys Cars.
Welcome back. Winnipeg, 12:23 to go in the third period. Blues holding on to a 3-2 lead here in Game 1. The St. Louis Blues and the Bud Light present This Bar Bleeds Blue. Go to stlouisblues.com/bars and find an official list of bars that bleed blue near you. While at the official bar, you can check yourself in via the St. Louis Blues app to win great prizes. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to celebrate. And with This Bar Bleeding Blue, it's easy to win.
3-2, St. Louis lead. We're in the third period. It's a one-goal game, 12-13 to go. Jets, Lowry shoots it. Binnington the save. Lowry recovers. And Broberg with a stick denies the middle. Winnipeg off the far wall. Shen slides in and kicks it out. DeMello's got to go back to get it for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, Braden did a great job. He made himself big right there. He looked, taking away that seam play, kind of turned his skate sideways, took up about 12 inches of ice there.
Hard rim to the far point. DeMello fires it into the middle, and it trickles to Lowry. Saucers that one over to Appleton. Chased by Broberg and up to the line. DeMello holds it in. Deflected down and on. Pad save. Binnington. Appleton whiffs on the shot. And Broberg gets the puck for the Blues. Looks to clear. Snuggerud with an angle, but not out. And the puck goes down into the corner. Binnington backhands it over to Justin Falk. He moves it out to Braden Shen. As he tries to dump it in, it's blocked down, and to get it now to Neighbors. He'll cut it in down the right side. Tried to saucer that to the corner to Buchnevich. Now it's pushed to the far corner, and Pionk onto it for Winnipeg. Caught into the skates of Robert Thomas, who has looked pretty good in this game here for the Blues. There was some concern after that final regular season game, and now it's off Thomas and in. 11 minutes to go, Game 1. Well, let me rephrase that. 11 minutes to go in regulation in Game 1. 3-2 the score.
Yeah, getting close to crunch time now. Just smart plays coming.
Connor tried to go to the middle, broken up by Parayko. Scheifele onto the puck behind the St. Louis net. Centers, they shoot, they score. 3-3 on a broken play. 10:42 to go here in the third period.
Well, it was a great step up here by Colton Parayko. He pokes it away from Kyle Connor. And then it's Thomas working on Scheifele behind the net. Scheifele's got body position. He's got the puck on his forehand. Thomas is in a great position. He goes to box him out. And then it's just a soft play from Mark Scheifele behind the Blues net. He's just going to throw something soft right to the blue paint. Iafallo is just sticking right there, right at the near side post. Puts on the brakes. And then it goes off the side of the net, right on Iafallo's stick. He just goes far side, right on the ice on Jordan Binnington. And boy, the crowd is officially into it right now. We didn't think we'd see another goal here as St. Louis was playing so good defensively. That one sneaks right underneath the leg curbs, right to the 5-hole on the ice. That was probably the one mistake the Blues have made. Cam Fowler and Robert Thomas both go to Scheifele behind the net. They had a similar goal they allowed this past week or two. Similar. It was Connor McDavid who scored that goal late in Edmonton, where two players went to the guy behind the net, left McDavid all alone in front. Oh no, they went to McDavid behind the net. I forget who scored that goal late to win in regulation for Edmonton, but the same thing happens here. Scheifele's behind the net. Thomas is on him. You're going to see Cam Fowler. He's going to release, so now it's a 2-on-1 to Scheifele. Leave Iafallo all alone in front, and he just pots it away.
Iafallo's had a strong game here tonight for Winnipeg. So we're 3-3 now, halfway through the third period, 10:25 to go. Long pass coming out into the neutral zone. Neither team has led by more than a goal. Walker's going to take it and try to shoot it on. That one shot high and wide. Leddy digs for it, and it goes down into the corner. Comes off the wall. Jets find it. Barron battles. And as he gets it onto his forehand, he'll chip it up to the blue line. It does come out. And a loose puck finds its way to Anderson Dolan, who scored earlier in the game.
Well, not a lot of rubber in front of Hellebuyck right now. The Blues are playing such a tight defensive game. So one of those things I actually kind of think it favors St. Louis is a goaltender can get kind of cold back there. Important for St. Louis to throw some shots on net.
Yeah, they've only had one shot on goal in this period, Joe. Winnipeg Jets have had a total of 5. Puck coming through the neutral zone. Well, you think of how things change. Power play chance to increase the lead. Cut short on a penalty. Eventually the game tied. Here's Bolduc snapping it in. One down into the corner, Sandberg. Able to make the play to the middle. The Pionk left wing now to Niederreiter. Gets that one in on the near side, and he rolls it in behind the net. Touched by Broberg, far wing. Bolduc got it out. Goes down into the Winnipeg zone. Wholesale change for the Blues. 4 of the 5 go. Falk stays on. Winnipeg comes their way, and it gets dumped in. Binnington's going to stop it. We'll pass it over to Falk into the skates now of Parayko. He's got to go to Falk, far corner. Off the wall for Braden Shen. The Blues get to the neutral zone as Falk's able to get to the bench and change. Pass in, and Snuggerud dumps it down behind Hellebuyck. It's a 3-3 game. Blues and Jets here in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. First game of any series. Wild card St. Louis Blues against the President's Trophy winning Winnipeg Jets. Here's Kyrou. To the far wing for Colton Parayko. Blues did not make the playoffs each of the last 2 years. Jets were eliminated in the first round each of the last 2 years. Fowler to the far wing. Over to Neighbors, checked into by Shen. Puck dumped in. Hellebuyck's going to make the play along the wing. As he gets the puck out to center, Iafallo steers it ahead. Scheifele with some speed, snaps it over to Connor. He shoots it. And off the blocker of Binnington, it goes to the glass. Shoveled by Thomas to the far corner. Philip Broberg moves that one to the neutral zone. Neighbors hits the trailing Thomas, who skates over the logo at center ice. Drags it into the near side. Keeps the puck and then puts it over to the far wing. Neighbors for Broberg, and a shot wide. Thomas. Oh, he's centered. He had Buchnevich cutting through. They couldn't connect as that chicken wing had some hot sauce on it.
Yeah, and Scheifele finishes his check on Thomas in the near side corner here, Curves. A little bit slow and ginger coming back to the bench right there. Remember, he has that lower body nagging injury that's been, he's playing through it right now, but a couple more hits like that, it's going to start to wear on him.
They chop it into the blue zone. Toropchenko couldn't get to it. Niederreiter shot, a big right leg save by Binnington. Now Morrissey straight away. Fires it, it goes wide. Perfetti going back to the corner and now to Niederreiter. Up to the line. Morrissey, a shot blocked by Walker as it goes to DeMello behind the net to Perfetti. Centers to Nemesnikov, blocked away. Loose puck to the corner. Walker checked into. Suter's going to dig in. Go to Nick Leddy with Perfetti chasing after him. While Perfetti getting 3 swats in on the hands of Leddy, and the puck dumped down by the Blues defenseman. Look out. Walker goes in. He blows up Dylan DeMello.
I'm not sure what the call was. Nathan Walker.
The call was offside.
Oh, it was offside. Okay. Well, he can still finish his check there. He's not touching the puck. No problem there. I don't think Walker knew it. I certainly didn't know it. It was kind of a bumpy little play there.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if you didn't touch the puck, why they call it offside. Why they whistled it.
I'm the same way. Yeah, so I mean, he didn't touch the puck, so he's okay to finish his check there. It's a good, clean hit. Looks like no penalties are going to be handed out, though. 6:49 to go here. We got to take our second break of this period. It's a 3-3 game, and it's a good one in Winnipeg. Stay with us. This is St. Louis Blues Hockey.
Like many top athletes, our pets give us their very best every day in every way. And because of our pets, Purina is doing more for the things that matter, for the ones who matter most. When you choose Purina, you're not just filling a bowl, you're helping fulfill a commitment to help pets and people live their best lives together. Learn how Purina is making a difference in the bowl and out of the bowl at Purina.com/cares. Purina, a proud sponsor of the St. Louis Blues.
From the electricity on the ice to the roar of the crowd in the stands, there's nothing quite like Blues hockey. And this season, you can be there live to cheer them on live. As the official ticketing partner of the St. Louis Blues and the NHL, Ticketmaster has you covered with the largest selection of seats at a wide variety of price points. So get off the couch and get into the stands. Grab great seats to see the Blues today at Ticketmaster.com/blues. That's Ticketmaster.com/blues.
This playoff season, Woodard Cleaning and Restoration is cheering loud for the St. Louis Blues.
Let's bring home the cup.
Whether you're hosting playoff watch parties or backyard barbecues, Woodard helps get your home guest ready with expert rug, carpet, and hard surface cleaning, including tile and grout and natural stone. Book your spring cleaning today at Woodard247.com. That's Woodard247.com.
Go Blues.
Woodard247.com.
Been a heck of a game. 6:51 to go in the third period. It is a 3-3 score with both teams' top players stepping up in big moments. Jordan Kyrou with the go-ahead goal there in the second period. It stood that way for a little while before Scheifele in this top line eventually cracked through 5-on-5. And now we have a 3-3 game, Curbs, and a crowd that was starting to slowly fall out of this game all of a sudden is right back into it. And the Winnipeg Jets are starting to really put the press now on St. Louis. St. Louis still with only the one shot on goal here. Over 13 minutes of hockey in this third period.
Jets win the face-off as it comes to the near side. Puck gets dumped in. Binnington dishes over to the far wing, and Broberg will clear it out. Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of great connection up the ice in this period for the Blues on the breakouts, has there?
No, there really hasn't. And the Winnipeg Jets are a much more experienced overtime team than the St. Louis Blues. Braden Shen, the only player on the team with an overtime winner at the St. Louis group. Multiple here for Winnipeg. So
6:12 to go in regulation. We're tied 3-3. Broberg will drift back behind his own net. Pass to the near wing for Thomas. He goes to Neighbor, skates over the red, gains the blue down the right wing. Looks for some help, saucers to the far side. Fowler wrists it in behind the net in a 3-3 game to Butch Navich, then to Thomas. He's marked well there by Scheifele. The Jets are going to get to it, and they start to break to the neutral zone. Connor going to Scheifele. Off his skate, he'll dump it down into the corner. Get the puck as he's checked by Fowler to Connor on the near wing. Now Perico and Scheifele to the far wing. Neighbors trying to chop at it, couldn't do it. And as he kicks at it at the hash marks, Thomas is there. 5:28 to go. We're in the third. Morrissey down the left wing behind the net. They center and broken up in the middle by Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas and Colton Perico. They had Scheifele right in high slot right there. A bang-bang play. This is a top line that's starting to really carry momentum in this game. Blues have got to be careful here.
86 hits between the two teams charted in this game. 5:05 to go. Suter wins the battle. Perfetti holds the puck in. They play it behind the net to the Cup champion Nick Leddy. And now Joseph will clear. Off the skate in the neutral zone behind Sundqvist. That puck gets deflected right back to the Jets line. Barron's going in, but he caught it on the wrong side of the blue line. That's offside. 4:46 remaining. Blues are coming home for their first playoff game on Thursday night. Get your tickets at stlouisblues.com/tickets. We'll come back in a moment in a 3-3 game one. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
The temperature is rising. The flowers are blooming. And Happy Radio is here to make your days even brighter. Playing nothing but feel-good hits to put a pep in your step. Listen to our collection of Happy Radio channels anytime at home with the SiriusXM app on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM.
The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favourite team.
Here in Winnipeg, 4:46 to go, 3-3 is your score. If we've learned anything about Blues playoff hockey and playoff hockey in general, it's with tied game this late curve, especially in the first game, it's always those goofy bounces. It's the ones you throw at the net that goes off a couple different bodies. So any rubber at the net is good rubber at the net.
4:39 to go, third period. The game tied 3-3. Thomas, Sundqvist, Kyrou goals for the Blues. Scheifele, Anderson, Dolan, Iafallo for the Jets. Here's Appleton to Lowry in the middle. Hit him in the skate. Schenn has it. Backhands to Falk at center. Up to Broberg, and the pass missed him as the two defensemen led the rush up the ice.
Yeah, I had Jim Montgomery scratching his head there. It hasn't been quite as clean here in the neutral zone for St. Louis. Missing a couple easy passes here.
You got to give some credit to Winnipeg, don't you, on that one?
Well, they do. I mean, they're on the defensive side, no question, but there's a couple plays the Blues can be making. They're just missing right now.
Puck cleared out into the neutral zone. Now Buchnevich. It's a 2-1 game Winnipeg if you just go 5-on-5 hockey. And it's a 3-3 game after the special teams factor in. Hellebuyck to the near side. Oh, Thomas nearly picked it off. That puck cleared to the neutral zone. Fowler has it. Goes rink wide to Neighbors up the left wing. Tried to weave it in, couldn't. Poked off to his stick. And Fowler's going to have it on the near side. Out to the neutral zone for Toropchenko, then to Reddick. Foxa sweeps the line, shoots it in. Hellebuyck coming out of the net, and the Blues take the wall away from the goaltender. So he has to flip it to the near side. Foxa gets it back at the hash marks. Runs into Walker. Two Jets are there to get it back, and they clear to the neutral zone. Iafallo finds Pionk, and they'll fire it in around the seamless glass. Down into the corner, settled down by Scheifele. He lost his footing, goes down. Foxa clears it. Oh, too far for Toropchenko. That's an icing call.
It's that same play we're talking. You know what I mean? There it is again. You're coming out clean. You make a great little squash play on Scheifele. No issue in the first line, and all of a sudden you got Radek Fox that looks for Toropchenko. I think he thinks Toropchenko's going to come across the middle there, and he stays wide. So it's almost like a quarterback and a wide receiver in football, just not on the same page as far as what route they're supposed to take. And it's another icing here for St. Louis. Luckily, the Blues have been so good on the face-off dot. There's Radek Fox with a good win.
Puck cleared out of the zone, far side. Foxa digs in. 2:51 to go in regulation. And the Jets player sits on the puck. DeMello doesn't try to move. 2:48 remaining. You can fill out your NHL bracket at NHL.com/bracket. Pick who you think you're going to win each series to win some great prizes.
Well, that's a good play there for Radek Fox too, because he's talking to Toropchenko now on the bench about communication of that missed play. But you missed that pass. Well, you still got things in your control. You go out there, you win the face-off, good clean play out of the zone, get a whistle, and you're back on your bench.
Jets win the center ice draw. 2:45 to go in regulation. Winnipeg tied it up at 9:18. Iafallo from Scheifele and Connor. Second point of the game for both Scheifele and Connor. Bouncing puck comes out to center. Nobody can get a handle on it. Nemesnikov got it. Flips it back in. Binnington touches the Falk. Snaps it along the wing. Stripped by Nemesnikov. They go in behind the net. And then, Broberg looks hurt. He gets up. Grabs his stick. He's okay. He gets to the neutral zone. And the puck then dumped in by the Sundqvist line.
Very awkward. Perfetti comes in and hits him very uncomfortably. Kind of hits him from the side. He goes head first in the boards, but he gets up on his own, skates off on his own, which is a good sign.
You never know what hit at what time could change the impact of a series.
Absolutely. We've seen it so much.
Tanev puts it in behind the net to the near wing. Lowry off the wall with it, makes the play to the corner. They snap to Morrissey, then tried to get it down. Snuggerud blocked it, but they couldn't clear. Now they do. And it does get across the line. That's an icing call. 1:44 to go in regulation of a 3-3 game one.
Yeah, Snugger almost blocked that for a breakaway. Hey, you can keep the party going at the Enterprise Center after the final whistle. Join us for the postgame in the Anheuser-Busch Beer Garden for the Bud Light fourth period. Located just inside the Ford entrance, the Anheuser-Busch Beer Garden will have discounted beverage and live entertainment. And the fourth period will keep the party going for up to 60 minutes after every home game.
Defensive zone draw won by Winnipeg. Now to Morrissey near wing. Off the wall to Scheifele, far side, score! Kyle Connor. Set play, they wired it over for the one-timer and a no-doubter. Winnipeg leading 4-3 with 1:36 to go in Game 1.
Well, the Blues have had problems with icings all period long, and they're running out of steam. This place is electric. Everyone on their feet. The towels, the whiteout is alive. The Blues have been just feeling all kinds of pressure. And eventually, the Winnipeg Jets take advantage. A Scheifele face-off win on Braden Shen. They work it around. Morrissey back to Scheifele on this near side. Scheifele's then going to take it, go right through the seam. And like you mentioned, Curb, this is a perfect drawn-up offensive zone face-off play. And Kyle Connor, who has had multiple opportunities in this game, finally breaks through and gets this crowd into it. 1:36, far from over. Plenty of hockey to go here. Plenty of hockey. But the Blues have got to get on their toes. They got the one shot still in this third period. Not good enough. Look out.
Yeah, been a horrific period for the offensive play of the Blues here with just the one shot on net.
Well, they got to grab Jordan as soon as they can. Nothing's really going 5-on-5. They got to get a 6-on-5 advantage here. Here they come. Yep, they're going to get them right away.
So Fowler's going to go in behind the net. Binnington goes to the bench. Extra man is on. Kyrou shoots it in, and the Blues have the game-tying goal in them. Slung behind the net, caught by the Jets. Sandberg pulls it along the wall. Blues trying to kick it off as Sandberg holds it along that yellow base of the board. 60 seconds to go in regulation. Puck comes loose to Mason Appleton. Skates to center for the empty net. Steered wide by Fowler, but Lowry tucks it in. 5-3 now the score. Winnipeg on top. And the Blues go from a lead in the third period to a 2-goal deficit with 51 seconds to play.
You know, you just felt the ice tilting when it was 3-2. You know, halfway through the period, the Blues only had the one shot. It was just constant pressure from Winnipeg. Eventually, Iafallo on this top line gets a goal 5-on-5, and then a face-off play by that same line. You know, Curbs, this was a big storyline coming in, was how are they going to minimize and try to shut down the two players, especially of Connor and Scheifele. But that Iafallo line, they've been the difference maker in this game. Without question, they've been the difference maker in this game, and the captain right there with an insurance goal to make it 5-3. 52.3 ticks to go. They're going to pull Binnington right away. Really no point of keeping him in. They need a face-off win and a drawn-up play immediately.
Jets win the draw. They get it to the far side. Snuggerud got it over the line. It hit off of Sundqvist. Morrissey goes to clear. The Blues keep it in, but it's off a hand pass. 41 seconds to go. Well, you can slice it any way you want, Joe, but one shot on goal is just hard to imagine in this third period with the way the Blues were playing.
It is. And, you know, the Winnipeg Jets, like I mentioned, to start the game, they looked a little bit pressurized. They looked a little shell-shocked. They looked a little bit like they know what's at stake here. President Trophy winner, you're playing the 1 and the 8 seed, going head-to-head. And I just don't know if Hellebuyck was ready to go. I don't think the Jets were ready to go. I thought St. Louis jumped on them early. They were fortunate with the 3 goals they had with great shots from the outside. But then you just felt that the tide turn in that second period. It just little by little it started to build for them. And the Jets offense and the forecheck just too much for the Blues to handle in this third period.
Shen goes flying in to hit Pionk. Blues strip it. Thomas. Final seconds, 29 to go. Falk to Thomas. Thomas fires a shot that's blocked. And the puck to the empty net again for the Jets. It goes wide. Falk's going to get back to get the icing call. Neighbors and Scheifele grab a hold of one another. Shen trying to get in there. Now everybody's coming in. Right at the whistle here. And a couple of dog piles. Iafallo has Neighbors on the ice.
Yeah, it really started with Braden Shen. It was with Shen and Scheifele, and then Neighbors jumps in with Scheifele. They're going to boot everyone right now. Here's Iafallo and Neighbors. They're still going to go. The referee's going to let them go to toe-to-toe.
Yeah, Iafallo's trying to actually just take the jersey. You don't want it.
Neighbors kind of throwing Jake around right now. Both players extremely tired. It's a yard sale on the ice with fans on their feet. And it's the top line that not only takes care of the offense here, but they're going to wrap it up and finish the game, heading to the locker room early with all their gloves and helmets on the ice. Iafallo gone, Scheifele gone. There goes Braden Shen. Jake Neighbors gets kicked out as well. You know, this is how you end a game where you're down by 2 goals. You try to stir something up. You try to set the tone for game 2, and the captain leading the way on that. Clearly frustrated by how this third period panned out here for this Blues team.
So they'll sort this one out. The Jets, barring really something spectacular, the Jets are going to win game 1 as a result of a third period that saw the Blues with 0 offensive pressure. And the shame about that whole scenario, we'll get more into it in the postgame show, is you feel like you let Connor Hellebuyck off the hook on this one.
You did. That's a great point, Curbs, because the Blues only really threw 16 shots at him. And he allowed the 3 goals outside the screen from Sundqvist on the Kyrou goal. The first 2 with Sundqvist and Thomas were just point blank. You beat Connor Hellebuyck high glove. Or I don't know if this was Hellebuck's best game.
Right.
So now you still got to look into game 2 as Connor Hellebuyck didn't even play that well. And they still get the win. So the team kind of got Hellebuck's back on this one. And you know good goaltending is coming eventually in this series. So they potentially did just waste one right there. Boy, you go back to this game, a 3-2 game, 2 Curbs. It's amazing how that one error where Iafallo was left all alone in front with a 3-2 game where 2 players go after Scheifele behind the net. That's a one-person job, not a two-man job. You have a defenseman help out Robert Thomas down low, and that allows Iafallo to be all alone in front. That tied the game at 3. The energy just erupted in this building. And then, of course, a face-off play by that top line moments later to make it 4-3, and then the empty netter. But one little relapse in the D zone, one little misresponsibility lead to that equalizing goal, or else the Blues maybe are still in a great shape here.
So after all of that, it was an icing call against Winnipeg, so the face-off stays in the Winnipeg zone. Will stay 5-on-5.
And what all started it was actually a Braden Shen high stick underneath Scheifele's chin. Scheifele retaliated. Braden Shen jumps in there.
Blues tried to kick the puck loose off the draw. They get it to the far wing. 13 seconds to go. Joseph the shot. Saved by Hellebuyck. Blues come out with Fox and Joseph and Walker, by the way. Walker has Luke Shen in the corner. Now everybody's going in. 2.4 seconds to go. Grab yourself a partner. It's time to dance. End of a playoff game. And you notice, even though the offensive zone draw, who was put out on the ice.
Look at Binnington, too. Looking at Connor Hellebuyck.
He's not going anywhere.
Binnington's at the blue line staring down Hellebuyck. Hellebuck's not even looking his way. But we also know that Jordan Binnington, he's no stranger to jumping in the emotion of games like this. One shocked me one bit. Now they're going to kick more people out. Looks like Matthew Joseph's night's over. And you know, Curbs, this is the way a game 1 should end. If you're going to lose the game, you should go out with some big-time emotion. Stanley's gone. They're going to kick out Walker. We're not going to see a lot of players left here as these referees with a 2-goal game. They're going to let this thing really just sort itself out. A 1-goal game, I think you sort it out more responsibly. You're not just going to start kicking players out.
Well, here's a question. If you're throwing out Walker, why aren't you throwing Luke Shen to the locker room? What am I missing there what Walker did?
Well, it looks like they threw out Stanley. Did they throw out Sandberg as well? I think it was 2 for 2.
Okay.
We got Braden and Luke.
Yeah, because it is DeMello coming on to play with Shen. 2.4 to go. 5-3 Winnipeg. They took control of the third period.
Oh, now they are.
I believe now they are.
Jim Montgomery was listening to you all the way up here. Yeah. They heard you, so they are going to throw out Luke Shen.
Francis Chiron talking to Jim Montgomery. Foxa, Toropchenko, Letty, Suter on the ice for the Blues. Do the Blues put a 5th out there? Yes, they will. It'll be Zach Bolduc. 2.4 seconds to go in game 1. Foxa against Lowry on the draw. Puck is down. Blues win the draw. Game 1 goes to Winnipeg. They take a 1-0 series lead, a disappointing third for the Blues. Only 2 shots on net. The stage will be set for a Monday night game number 2. 5-3 final, Winnipeg winning Game 1 with a third period come from behind win. Let's get the post-game show started. Alex Ferrario standing by.
All right, guys, thank you so much.